So you know how in the past few years we've had a couple of movies that have come out that have been based on kind of like unusual origins of board games. Like we had that what was that Hugh Jackman movie that was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
Right,
that?
yeah. I don't remember what it was called, but it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, exactly.
And Battleship.
Yeah, precisely. I have this idea for a dark outlook, like something that can bring this into a more like, let's say like Chris Nolan verse.
Okay.
Like dark interpretation from such innocent, innocuous subject matter. I think we do a movie, trademark Dead and Lovely, of course.
Obviously.
You know, you set it up in the trailers and stuff. You've got this kid who he's coming home. He's been hanging out with his friends and stuff. Life is great. He comes back to a darkened house. He comes in and he immediately starts having to get like really quiet. Like he's like trying to sneak in his own house and stuff. What's going on here? What's going on? He manages to sneak in the house. You know, he pets the dog. The dog doesn't bark at him. But then, you know, he does something like he maybe goes to get like a glass of water before he goes to bed. But he accidentally drops the glass and glass shatters. Yeah, and you can tell there's fear in his eyes. He's sweating, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you see the doorway at the end of the hall crack open. And here comes the father figure, right?
Right.
And he is just like fucking pissed. I think he's maybe got like a liquor bottle in his hand. He's wearing a bathrobe. Just like Jack Torrance in The Shining and stuff. Just fucking shot, right? And he's like, oh, I told you to be careful whenever you come in here. Don't wake me. Don't wake Daddy. Origins. And it's a story about a kid who, you know, he's always got to be careful not to wake Daddy. Because Daddy's going to fucking, I guess, beat his ass.
Oh, boy. Wait till you hear about my gritty Mr. Bucket movie.
Mr. Bucket. Mr. Bucket.
Pop your balls in my mouth.
Yeah,
Is that what he says?
I'm thinking that's about a guy who has spent many years as a recovering addict who's like working glory holes at truck stops and stuff.
Mr. Bucket.
Yeah.
It's directed by Rob Zombie, obviously.
Oh, yeah, it's a Rob Zombie flick. You get all these trucks like pulling into this truck stop. Hey, I heard there's a fella around here. What's called
Mr.
Bucket. That's right. You never had your balls in a mouth like that.
Welcome.
Welcome, horror fans, board game fanatics, to the greatest horror movie review podcast in this land and the next land. My land, your land.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
And we're the best horror movie podcast.
That is true.
This is Dead and Lovely, here with the host with the most whites, me, your best buddy, Uncle Ben.
And me, your worst enemy, Hollywood Steve.
Oh my God.
That's right. I'm gonna live and I'm gonna turn it into a crude oil refinery that runs on polar bear blood. Hollywood Steve.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Now, Steve, it's only been a few days since we recorded a double header show. We've just been busting these podcasts out.
This is number 3 in just a few days.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, the last time that we recorded, we were sweet summer children. It was like 67 degrees the other day.
It was so nice.
Yesterday, it snowed in East Tennessee.
The night we recorded that, you and Kate were hanging out outside at night when I got here
on
to
the
record.
patio after sundown, having a beer and having some food and stuff like that.
And then the next day,
I got frostbite.
Winter came.
I lost my foot. It's gone.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I'm old 1 foot Ben, they call me.
Yeah, 1 foot Ben.
Man, it sucks. Tennessee weather can go fuck itself.
1 foot's a name you just don't hear. Like, you may hear like peg leg or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Just 1 foot.
Oh, 1 foot?
Yeah, it's like a no value judgment. You're just describing the person.
It is
1 foot.
It is what it is. Let's be honest.
He has, in fact, 1 foot.
Yeah, it's not a critical assessment of this person. It's just
1
a fact.
foot Owen. That's him.
That's him. You know, the feller only has 1 foot.
That's the guy.
That's the guy. So, yeah, it is suddenly freaking freezing. And this is one of those moments where I'm like, oh, living in a city means I have to let the dog out and walk the dog and stuff in this weather. Instead of just tying her up outside and being like, you have fun with that.
Yeah.
I'll be here inside being warm.
Yeah. That's no fun. You do actually have to do that. But I have to do that with my dog anyway. We walk her around the yard because she will run.
Yeah.
Very far away.
That is kind of the thing, though, is I talk about this like it's a huge complaint, but for the past couple of years, yeah, every time we let our former little dog, Attila, out before we lost him, like, I always had to walk around with him, too, so we didn't leash him. So, and what else is new? I'll tell you what, though, man. I was walking around outside last night, and yeah, there's a handful of homeless people in Knoxville. It doesn't have like a giant homeless population, but there's some. A few. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, those poor people having to like sleep and stuff out here. Then I got to thinking, it's like, dude, there's fucking homeless people in like Fargo.
There are.
What the fuck do they do? Die, I guess?
Yeah, they die.
Like, there's no way. You have to be tough as nails to sleep outdoors.
I believe that's why there are so many homeless people in Southern California. Like, if you're going to be homeless, probably the place to be.
Live where it's nice outside all the fucking time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I was going to be without a home, I would definitely want to be in LA or Anaheim or somewhere like that. Steve, I'm going to have to get a pull so I can make it through this spot of bother, this chill in the air that we're feeling right here. I've got myself and yourself a peanut butter chocolate milk stout from Four Hands Brewing Company. Four Hands
Brewing. I believe it's the first time we're having a Four Hands brew on the show.
I think so. It is called their Absence of Light.
I'm seeing that famous arc, so I'm guessing it's St. Louis that they're...
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got that there on the can. It's got a little like chocolate peanut butter monster here. He looks like he's ready to party. He's ready to have a good time.
He does look ready to party.
He's ready to party.
That guy shows up at your party, you're like, fuck, it's about to
go down. So this thing is 7.1% ABV. It suggests a pairing with chocolate cake. It should say chocolate cake, you fat fuck. Just be real with this here. Come on.
Have this thick-ass beer and a piece of chocolate cake.
Now, we got this from the Merchants of Beer down the road there. Kate recommended it. She said she tried it before we started the show and said,
now, Kate doesn't like beer.
No, she doesn't. So
this either will taste amazing or very much not like beer.
Yeah, it'll be one of those things that either transcends the reality of beer or is just like, well, I hate this. It doesn't taste anything like beer. You know? See what that does.
Let's find out.
We got these poured into these beautiful glasses that were donated to us by one RDM, our best buddy, Roger Dean Miller. Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Yeah. It's a stout. I mean, it's got, I'd say it's a lighter stout, but it's got those peanut butter flavors. It's got the chocolate.
Ooh.
It's creamy.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, too. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty sweet affair. This is probably a one and done for me since I don't do a lot of sweets. But dude, I mean, I'm talking about like, if that was a dessert, that could be a dessert, dude.
Yeah, if somebody was like, you want dessert? Here's a peanut butter chocolate milk stout, and it was this. Yeah, okay.
Yo, let me tell you this. Imagine this poured over a scoop of Niller ice cream.
Niller ice cream? Mm-hmm. I'd want to turn it into some sort of syrup.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Some syrup?
Some syrup.
Well, dude, I'll tell you one thing that I did have a week or two ago over at Merchants of Beer again. They had this really special Cigar City Brewing Company dinner beer food pairing thing. That the pop-up food truck out there hosted. Okay. And for one, it was fucking amazing.
I bet.
It was like a 4-course meal with a different Cigar City brew that went with like every course, you know? It was great. And the dessert was their... Shit, what is it called? I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's their like espresso stout.
Oh.
I want to say it's called like Havana or something like that. I can't remember. But Cigar City makes a
espresso
extremely dark. And dude, it is like bitter black espresso. It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm interested.
And they made a float out of it where it had a scoop of amazing ice cream and that beer on top of it. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. It was fantastic.
People sleep on combining alcohol and dessert.
Yeah.
You should do that.
Get your pull.
Get your pull.
Yeah, that's a good beer. That's very, very tasty. I'm satisfied with that. And we got these beautiful glasses. And I can see why she likes
it. It is a dessert.
Yeah,
it's
even
slice
for a non-beer
of delicious cake.
Yeah. And we're drinking these out of these beautiful glasses that Roger gave us. We got a YouTube video coming out about...
I think it'll be up.
It'll be up already?
Yeah. So go have watched it.
Go have watched it over on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/
Good and Lovely.
Boom. You can find us on there. We put the podcast and stuff on there too, and back episodes and all kinds of other fun
and
shit.
And new
for you
videos
guys.
every once in a while.
Yeah. I feel fancy. This is a real like fancy boy glassware.
I do. I feel like a fancy boy.
I feel like a fancy boy.
I feel like a fancy lad, even.
I'm one of those big city dandies.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
I noticed your hair oil.
That's right.
Mhm.
You're darn
Very
right.
foppish.
Did you notice my elegant white gloves?
Of course I did.
Yeah, everybody on the streets
All
does
the
too.
better to smack someone with.
I challenge thee to a duel.
Yeah. You're all over the place.
I'm everywhere. Yeah, I'm polite. I'm aggressive. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
He's a good boy dandy. He'll slap the shit out of you with a glove.
That's right. You know, Steve, I've not really gotten to watch really anything since we recorded our last show like 2 days ago.
Because I went home that night at like 2 a.m. and I edited the Dr. Sleep episode. Then I
Edit
woke
till
up
dawn. Rave.
the next day and I started editing the interview with the vampire episode. I really haven't had time to watch anything new.
No.
I've had some Letterkenny on in the background. I'm just playing through it again. That show's so fucking funny.
I think about the only thing that we've like watched that was new is we have been watching through that new season of Big Mouth.
Oh yeah,
And
awesome,
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
that
3 is
show
great.
does not quit. We've got that fucking like menopause banshee that's coming around by Carol Kane. Like as soon as I heard her voice, like Kate and I both look at each other and we're like, yo,
Carol Kane.
is that Carol Kane?
It's Carol Kane.
Carol Kane totally is amazing, dude. That show, I swear, it just never slows down. It's like there's never an episode that's not fucking funny.
Yeah.
And I'm dying to watch that new Queer Eye that's in Japan.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we just signed our life away to that Disney network.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we went
So you
ahead and
gotta
signed
check
up
some of
early.
that out.
Yeah.
You gotta watch some Tailspin.
Oh, yeah.
Tailspin. Oh, yo.
Is it on there?
Of course it is.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, they got everything.
Like the old one.
Yeah.
Shit.
They'll have the old DuckTales and the new DuckTales. I recommend both. The new DuckTales is awesome.
Dang,
Great
dude.
voice cast. I love the art. But the old DuckTales, also fucking awesome.
Oh, I
Darkwing
love
Duck should be on there,
Oh, my God.
which is a great fucking show.
It's been an eternity since
Yeah.
I watched that. There was also a great video game of that. I think it was an NES game. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there were some those Disney like the Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Yep.
That game was great.
Dude, the
The
fucking
DuckTales game was awesome.
They were really one of the only licensed properties that were actually making good games
Yeah.
back then. Because all like, well, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of the comic book games were just either terrible or impossible, like the Batman game.
Most of them were just beat 'em up to.
They were pretty much all beat 'em ups.
Yeah,
all those
that
X-Men games.
It didn't matter what the character was. It's just a beat 'em up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, play
Yeah.
as Wolverine and you have claws. Play as Captain
Yeah.
America, you can throw a shield. But it's all just a fucking beat 'em up game. But yeah, you're right. The Disney games, like, yeah, the DuckTales game. Do you remember the Aladdin game for Super
The
NES and
Aladdin
Genesis?
game for both of them was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that one for Super Nintendo? It had beautiful artwork. It was a Mickey game. I remember it kind of played into like all the different elements of Mickey. Like,
right.
there was like Fantasia Mickey with the wizard robe and shit. You know the one I'm talking
I
about?
do know the one you're talking about, and I don't remember the name of that.
And the artwork was like
It was
fucking
good,
gorgeous,
yeah.
man. So yeah, I'm dying to get into some of that stuff. I got to watch that Mandalorian.
Oh yeah,
I've been hearing nothing but good about it.
me too.
I've heard people say it feels like the Star War.
Like the Star War?
They say it's feeling like the Star
The great
War.
Star War.
The one you've heard about.
Like, just imagine this. Sometime before The Phantom Menace came out, people just referred to the Star War.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They were like, the one. It was
big
like
one,
the big one, like World War One before it was World War
The
One.
Great War.
Yeah. And then second Star War happens and it's like, shit. Well, Star Wars. Remember the first one? That was cool.
What do
Now we got
learn
a new
from it?
one.
Nothing.
Next is going to be Star Desert Storm.
Another Star War. Star Storm.
Star Storm, yeah.
Storm
They're going
War.
to stop calling them wars because they're going to stop declaring wars. They'll just send people in an operation. Star Operation.
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
That works pretty well. Yes, I'm dying to get into some of that stuff, man. I'm sure that over the next week or something, I'll start digging in, checking out some of the Disney goodies. I guess Disney's just going to have all of everybody's money now. All of it.
Yeah. I mean, they really do because they own ABC and ESPN and all
Kind
sorts
of
shit.
everything.
Kind of everything.
It's the kind of thing, I was talking to one of my Skype students about this the other day. I'm like, it's the kind of thing that I would get kind of concerned and like mad about just the absolute entertainment monopoly that they have going on with all the shit that they own.
Yeah.
But they do all kind of do it really well. It's almost as if like there was like a new law that was declared tomorrow that like the only guy that's allowed to own a guitar is Eddie Van Halen. And you're like, well, if one guy's gonna own it, Eddie's a pretty good choice.
Yeah. I think when people start talking about an entertainment monopoly, it's like, do you realize how much entertainment there is other than Disney? Like, there is an infinite amount.
Hey, they don't own Wes Anderson.
Like, if someone's saying they have a monopoly on Marvel movies, well, so Marvel has a monopoly on the rights to their characters. That's not a monopoly. That's just ownership.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
own a
That's
bunch
true.
of stuff, but there's also a ton of other ways you can get entertainment.
Read a book, stupid.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't waste your
No,
time.
no. Listen to a podcast.
Listen to a podcast about a book or something.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Exactly right. That's a good idea right there.
But yeah, like they do own a whole lot, but they also like you know going into it that it's theirs, and they have a certain flair. They have a certain way they do things.
So you're okay with the Disney monopoly
No,
overall?
I wish they didn't own everything.
Yeah.
Because they will, like, they own the rights to Alien now. They got 20th Century Fox
they got
and
Alien.
stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
And I don't trust them to be violent. Like, I don't trust them to make an Alien movie that will be violent. I trust them to make an Alien movie that might be entertaining and fun, but
Make a lot
it's
of
never.
money.
But it's never going to be on the level of Alien or
I know what you mean.
Aliens.
Yeah, and I can get on board with what you're saying. I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, but the Marvel movies, and it's like, yeah, but they're not like brutal, like
No.
R-rated
Yeah.
violence or anything.
They're
like
fun.
that.
I don't complain about the Marvel movies at all.
Yeah.
I know that some people want something different from them or whatever. To me, they're perfectly fun, just like reading comics when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And that's great. I don't need them to be
Hyper
overly
brutal
challenging or overly violent. And we still have those. DC's making those all over the place. And they aren't very fun, usually.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not so much. Well, since we recorded, you been up to anything good this week, Steve?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, working.
Editing.
Yeah, editing.
Yeah.
And not really much. My wife got food poisoning.
Got some food poisoning,
Yeah.
huh? Oh, no. What did she get a snack on that got so bad to her?
Well, she ate at Red Lobster, but she doesn't eat fish.
Hang on. Wait a second here. People actually eat at Red Lobster?
A lot of people eat at Red Lobster, yeah.
But why?
Because they want seafood in Tennessee, basically.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Red Lobster?
Well, I mean, where else are you going to get seafood?
Chesapeake's?
That's a bit more expensive,
Good.
but it's more expensive.
What about Long John Silver's?
Well, see, then that's your only other option, right? Now that's like, yeah.
When is the last fucking time you ate at a LJS or a Captain D's,
I
man?
was, I think, 10 or 11. I remember it.
That's insane.
I'll tell you what. It's not good, but it's also like just fried fish.
I was gonna say, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's as bad as fried fish.
Yeah, it's
is.
just a fried white fish. Like, it could be better. It could have more flavor to it, but it's also like, well, yeah, it's gonna give you diarrhea because it's greasy ass
Just
fried
grease,
fish.
man.
Yeah.
I think the last time that I was in a Long John Silver's,
Mm-hmm.
and this will seriously give it context based on the date and relevance. What I'm saying
Yeah.
right here. The last time that I set foot in one, I don't even think that I ate anything. I think that I was just with my buddy Mitch,
Mm-hmm.
and we just seen The Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, damn.
College
So
Square
this is
Mall
a
in Morristown.
full-on disappointment day.
Yeah, it was. It sure was, man. Dude, we went to the College Square movie theater in Morristown, which the theater in Morristown, over the past like 5 or 6 years, I like redid it and stuff.
Yeah, I've been there more recently.
Okay, it's actually
Yeah.
pretty nice now.
Yeah, it's actually
still
pretty
in
nice.
Morristown, which
It
is
is still, yeah, and there's,
shithole.
yeah, no reason to be there unless you're at at Walter State, right
Yeah.
next to the mall.
Or-
Maybe it's just for that. It's just
It
for
might be
kids at Walter State who have the patience to not go home and watch a movie.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But back whenever the Matrix fucking Reloaded or whatever it was came out, it was just a dingy, like, smell like earwax and cigarettes, shit-ass movie theater. We saw people going in, like, wearing black trench coats and stuff. Like, they're, like, dressed up for the movie and shit, you know?
Oh, God.
And we watched that pile of shit movie and then went to Long John Silver's.
Yeah, right there in the parking lot of the mall.
Yep.
I think that's the last one I went to.
Oh, my God.
Long ago.
So what did she think gave her the food poisoning then?
Well, see, here's the thing. She doesn't eat fish, and she at Long John Silver's doesn't get meat at all. She just gets the dragon broccoli, which...
at a Red Lobster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dragon broccoli is like a panko breaded, deep-fried broccoli that's served with this sweet...
like chili sauce kind of thing?
Yeah, sweet chili paste stuff. It's amazing.
That sounds actually pretty
It's
awesome.
really
I
good.
can't lie.
Yeah, because she was talking about it one night, and she wanted me to make it. And she was saying it was tempura battered, which is what they say on the menu. But then I was like, let's go get it so I can see it, so I can try to replicate it. And it's not tempura; it's like panko battered.
Yeah.
But it's fucking awesome. It's really good. So I get why she gets it. But you know, if they're handling fish and chicken and shit, and then handling the broccoli,
right?
So yeah, she got
that sucks.
Some food poisoning. Yeah, her temperature went up. She had to call into school today.
Woof.
Called into school. Actually, she texted in. That's a thing now. You text your teacher?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Dude.
Crazy.
That's pretty sick.
I don't think I would have ever want to be texted by students.
Fuck no. I wouldn't be giving out my number to nobody.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Ugh.
When's the last time you had a food poisoning yourself? It ain't no fun. Myself,
it
was
really
a funny oyster in
oh,
Destin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Seafood food poisoning. No fun.
I'll tell you what, though. Okay. So I'll name drop the company and stuff. We went down to Destin several years ago with my wife's family for like beach vacation, you know? And one of the first nights we were there, actually I think it was the first night we were there, we ate at Acme Oyster House.
Okay.
And they do these like Rockefeller oysters that are seriously insane.
Okay.
Like, I know it's just another chain restaurant and stuff like that, but dude, these Rockefeller oysters they do are just
I do not look down on chain restaurants. They can still be good.
There you go.
You can have a perfect formula.
And it's everywhere, and it's available.
It's everywhere, and it's available. Yeah.
So, ate a bunch of these things. They were so fucking delicious. Went home that night. Woke up at, 3 in the morning, just sweating bullets, puked my guts out and stuff.
Yeah.
I was out like half the day the next day, just, And I think about 2 or 3 nights later when we went back, I ate them again. They were that good. They were that good.
Damn, you were asking for it. Oh.
I know, right? But that's the thing is, like, whenever you're eating an entire organism,
right,
there's a chance that you'll get a bad one and not know. I mean, if you cut into like a steak or a piece of chicken, you're like, oh, this wasn't cooked all the way through. Well, you just avoid the whole item.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But whenever you're eating entire individual animals, as you do when you eat shellfish,
I saw something the other day that trigger warning. This is really gross.
Oh no. Tell me about.
I saw this on Reddit.
Okay. I'm going to brace myself. Is the food about to be ruined for me?
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
When buying pork and beef,
okay,
you should be very careful.
Sure.
So, someone was roasting a pork roast, and turns out it had a huge abscess.
Oh, God.
That burst while it was roasting.
Nuh-uh.
And they opened it up to just abscess pus all over the baking sheet.
Holy shit. That is disgusting.
Yeah. So, apparently that's something to look out for with cows and chickens, or cows and pigs.
You tell me that USDA ain't really looking out for me. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well,
impossible.
Yes.
Impossible.
Yeah. I mean, there are states that have laws against being allowed to videotape on factory farm.
They're not hiding anything, though.
They're not. Yeah, can't possibly be hiding anything.
No. Oh, that's fucking nasty.
It's disgusting. Can you imagine? What if it hadn't burst and you cut into it?
Oh my God.
Roasted abscess.
Hey, be right
this
back.
This marinates itself.
Yeah, self-basting.
Oh.
Also, be right back. Starting my new grindcore band, Roasted Abscess.
Roasted Abscess.
Oh, Jesus. That is awful,
Yeah,
man.
it was disgusting.
Wow, dude. Wow. Well, I hope that Emily gets to feeling better after her foodborne illness experience.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll be, food poisoning only lasts about 24 hours usually.
Yeah.
Just your body getting that shit out.
Get out of here.
Hopefully she'll be feeling better by tomorrow.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, Steve. The subject of our show today is one Belayed.
Blade.
Starring Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
From 98? Is that right? 1990. Great is
19
more like it.
and 90. Great.
And we are, of course, doing this movie because it was one of our listener voted in Patreon-related picks for No Vampire, which is our yearly month of reviewing nothing but vampire movies.
And glad we're getting to do it. This is our first comic book movie, right?
Holy shit.
Well, I guess not technically. 30 Days of Night was a comic book before.
Hey, no. It was a graphic novel.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Mom, they're not dolls. They're action figures. God.
Yeah. But yeah, this is our first major comic book movie.
That's
crazy.
Right. And honestly, it might be one of the only ones we ever
it might
really
be one of
get to do.
Unless we do wild cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Really no.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're saying that the new Doctor Strange, I guess, is going to be kind of horror-ish,
right?
Is what I've heard.
The New Mutants movie that was supposed to come out in 2018 was supposed to be horror.
Really?
Yeah, but it still hasn't been released because I don't know what happened. I think maybe what happened was they actually made a horror movie, and then the studio was like, "Wait, but how's this like a comic book movie?" So they had to go back and do reshoots and keep just fucking changing everything, and then nobody wants to see it now because it's been changed so much.
Well, hell.
Yeah. But that was supposed to be horror. And then, of course, in 2020, we have Morbius coming out, which is another...
You just told me about that. I didn't know that was coming out.
Jared Leto will be playing Morbius.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That could work.
It could work. And it's tied into the Sony Spider-Man movies, but apparently with the new MCU deal, they may be tying those into the MCU. So there is rumor that the new Blade, Mahershala Ali, may make an appearance in Morbius because in the comic books, the retconned version of Blade,
on that later.
Yeah, he was turned by Morbius.
Turned.
So that would be awesome if they did that. I would love that. And it would be interesting then to see if they would bring Venom in. Even though that movie apparently not great, I still like Venom a lot and would like to see him brought in.
Yeah, I mean, if we're having Spider-Man movies, Venom needs to be in them.
Mm-hmm.
I've waited forever for a Maximum Carnage series, man.
Well, it's coming. Yeah, Woody Harrelson's going to be Carnage in the next
Is that a thing?
Venom movie, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've always thought he would be perfect.
Yeah. So
honestly, you know what? Him or... I mean, really, though, Woody Harrelson's like kind of old, but so is the guy I'm about to say. What is that guy's name? He was in Preacher. He played Freddy in the new...
Oh, right. Elf
Street remake.
Yeah, and he also played...
he has 3 names. I can't remember the fucker's name.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Jackie Earl Haley. Yes, Thank you. He would make a great Cletus Cassidy. Again, he's kind of old now, but he would do it really well, I think.
Yeah. But no, I mean Woody Harrelson. He already played Cletus Cassidy in the first Venom, so he's playing him in the second.
Nice.
And they're doing the Maximum Carnage storyline. So
holy shit.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, Steve, since this is going to be one of the only times that we get to talk about a Marvel franchise here on the show, I say before we get on into the review-ski portion of the show, how about we slipperty slide into the Preview Palace.
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
It was a remix.
Yeah.
A little different that time.
Mm-hmm.
And how about we just dish for a second for our listeners about our favorite MCU movies. Now, this isn't necessarily
let's just say Marvel,
MCU.
not MCU.
Okay, it's Marvel in
just
general.
Marvel.
Okay, right on. Now, whenever I am asking you, like, do you have a favorite Marvel licensed property movie? Is there one that jumps immediately into your brain skull pan?
Yeah, probably Thor Ragnarok.
That's the one for you, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Taika Waititi directed?
Yeah, I think it's the most fun while also being true to the Thor character and dealing with like the Thor mythos.
Yeah.
Dealing with a lot of serious stuff from the mythos, but it's also, the whole movie is pretty funny.
It is just a laugh riot.
Yep.
It's so good, man.
And you get to see Hulk once he starts talking. I like the a little more coherent Hulk more than smart Hulk that we now have in the MCU and also had in the comics in the 90s.
Yeah, this is like caveman level.
Yeah, I like caveman level Hulk. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm okay
where he
with
can
that.
say some things, but still, like, he's got really basic needs. Smash and sleep.
You got a wackadoo Jeff Goldblum in there, too.
Yep. Jeff Goldblum's awesome. We also have Cate Blanchett as Hela, and she's great.
My God, she is fantastic.
She is
and
awesome.
I've mentioned on the show, like, I don't know if she was supposed to be smoldering hot or not.
Well, she was.
Well, she stepped right into it.
Yeah.
She was
She
smoking,
sure did.
man.
And Loki is in the movie. I mean, it's got
Valkyrie.
everything you want from a Thor movie. Plus, yeah, Valkyrie, great.
Yeah.
Really fun, like, just overall fun movie. And you get to see a different alien world. So, yeah.
It's really fun.
It's a fun movie.
It is, man. Are you stoked on the impending, like, Lady Thor, Natalie Portman movie?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to do it. In the comic books, she got cancer and basically, like, becomes Thor when the Thor Odin's son becomes unworthy.
Okay.
And there's, like, there's a lot going on there that they could play up in this movie. So, and it's cool that Natalie Portman's coming back.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Awesome. Portman, motherfucker. Drink till I'm
Drink
sick.
till I'm sick. Slit your throat. Pour
Ragnarok.
nitrous down the hole. What, you laugh and cry? While I laugh, you die.
All the kids looking up to me can
Suck my dick.
Portman, motherfucker.
Drink till I'm sick.
She is fantastic.
She's great. Yeah.
Truly fantastic, man. Yeah, I think my biggest complaint about Ragnarok is that weird pitch correct on Hulk's voice. I've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the deal with that is. But God, it's such a fucking great movie, man.
Yeah.
I think whenever I think about, like, my favorite, the first one that jumps to mind,
Numero uno.
and it might just be because it's the one that I've had in my mind the longest, it's got to be that first Iron Man.
Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah, that first Iron Man set the tone for all the MCU movies afterwards.
It built all of it right there, yeah.
And you can tell how much it set the tone because they just ignored the Hulk movie that came after it. Like, they were just like, okay, no. We, like, that production was going the wrong way because we didn't know Iron Man was going to do what it did.
Yeah.
And then they self-corrected and got back on that train and made them all just these, I don't know, like, it nails what a comic book is, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just that casting of Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is perfect.
As Tony Stark couldn't have been more perfect. John Favreau's involvement made it incredible. And also, like, the CGI and the effects and stuff
Still look good.
still look great. I mean,
They
that
do.
movie's what, fucking 10 years old now?
11, yeah. 28.
11?
2008 is when it came out.
Holy
Yeah.
moly, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I knew that movie in my 20s. In my roaring 20s.
Whoa!
23 Skidoo.
I was also in my roaring 20s.
We did so much roaring back then.
Oh, man.
I went through a lot of Luden's cough drops, tell you that.
I would fucking, I'd Charleston here, I'd Charleston there.
That was your primary mode of
I'd
transportation.
get in my jalopy. Ooga, out of the way, pedestrians.
I'd jump straight from that right into a bathtub full of gin.
Of course. A bathtub full of gin.
And I'd exclusively drink it out of teacups. That's right, man. Yeah, what a movie, man.
So,
What's another one that's a favorite of yours, Steve?
So I think one of the things I really loved is that they were smart enough to say, wait, comic book isn't a genre. That's what Iron Man did smartly. Comic book isn't a genre. This is a movie about a war profiteer.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with war.
It kind of sidestepped silly kid stuff very intelligently.
Yeah.
You're right.
So Captain America Winter Soldier goes full on espionage tale.
It's like a Bourne movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cap is not in his uniform most of the time. And you got Black Widow there with him the whole time. So it's a cool, interesting pairing. You introduce the Falcon. You introduce the Winter Soldier. I mean, had he been introduced up to that point? No, he was introduced in The Winter Soldier. So
Bucky.
you introduced Bucky and Falcon. Introducced
Buck Falcon.
Bucky and Fuck Falcon. Also, Crossbones.
Oh yeah,
is
that's right.
introduced in
Crossbones
that.
is in there.
It's great, and it's a huge tale. Also, we learn more about Nick Fury. We learn a whole lot in that movie about what's going on with Hydra, what's going on with Shield.
Yeah, you're right.
It sets up a whole lot that goes on in Avengers later on, but it also is its own self-contained movie. I think it's a great espionage tale.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, it's more like it is like a Bourne style movie that just happens to star Steve Rogers. Not even necessarily Captain America.
Yeah,
like
he's Steve Rogers most of the time. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I have only seen that movie one time.
Check it out again.
I think I need to. Like, I think whenever I watched it, I must have not been in the mood for it because I honestly wasn't in love with it. I think that I was probably hoping for something that was more like the first Captain America is real wackadoo.
Yeah.
And fun and novel and kind of silly in a lot of ways, which I love the first Captain America.
I liked
honestly.
it a lot too. It was really fun.
And I think whenever this movie started off and it was automatically so, serious and espionage and double crossing and secrets, like I think I was like, I'm not really in the mood for something this cerebral or something.
Okay.
So I think I need to give that another go. Same with,
give it another go.
Civil War was like surprisingly
you weren't as big on it
and stuff like that too. I think I really just need to sit down and watch them
Civil
both
War.
again, man.
What's another one you're big on?
Fucking Guardians, dude. The first Guardians of the Galaxy.
I remember watching that in the theater. We watched the ArcLight in the Cinerama Dome, which is this huge curved screen.
Nice.
It was so fucking awesome,
dude.
I was blown away by it, and it was the most fun one up to that point. Like all of them had some funny elements to them, but they hadn't gone full fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's just such an amazing success story, too, because that was such a gigantic, profitable, successful movie with all fucking C-list characters. Like, not even B-list. Like, who the fuck had ever heard of Star-Lord?
People who read Guardians comics around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing
Rocket
is
Raccoon,
like,
same thing. Drax, if you read the older ones. Yeah, like these characters, they had become the Guardians team in the mid to late 2000s, but their popularity wasn't make a movie level.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but James Gunn knew what he was doing.
He saw the potential.
Yeah.
He saw the potential that was right there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because, like, as a kid growing up, I read a lot of Marvel comics.
Yeah.
I was definitely a Marvel Comics kid. And my wife, she liked to DC whenever she was a kid. She read a lot of Batman and stuff like that. And leading up to the release of Guardians, she started reading through the Guardians of the Galaxy comic series on what is the name of that like comics app?
Oh,
that you
right.
get?
Yeah.
But
that was awesome.
I can't remember what it's called. She was using
Comixology.
I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. And she was reading through the comics and stuff right there, and she's like, "Holy shit, Guardians comes out this week. We're gonna go see it." And I was like, "What is that about?" Like, I had no idea. I was in the dark about it. And she's like, "No, it's going to be awesome."
Oh, dude, I was super excited too.
I was skeptical. I was real skeptical.
I was
didn't know
super
any of them.
excited because, and you can go back if you want to go check my old tweet log. Weeks before Guardians came out, I said that because, Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Because Karen Gillan is in Guardians of the Galaxy, it will make all of the money.
Wow.
And it did. Karen Gillan and fucking Nebula is, I think, the best part of Endgame. Nebula's
Her character
relationship
is really important in there.
Yeah, Nebula's relationship with like being good and like overcoming her programming and stuff, all super interesting. So like, I was kind of right that Nebula was the most important.
But I mean, I think that it's fucking Chris Pratt that really
he brings
enchanted everybody.
Well, yeah, and then also Groot.
Yeah,
everybody loves Groot.
And fucking Batista.
Vin Diesel,
dude, Batista in there, amazing.
They paid Vin Diesel to be Groot, though. That's just like, what the fuck. And Batista, choosing Batista because all he had done up to that point really was some of those WWE films, but he was also the villain in that one Bond. He wasn't the main
Oh,
villain,
right,
but he was
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
enforcer villain.
I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and he was good in that.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah,
But this is the first time he really had a lot of screen time and
he's
speaking
like
parts.
talking and stuff. Yeah,
He's so fucking funny in this. He's fantastic, man. Yeah, and like I said, Chris Pratt, it's like we knew him from Parks and Rec at that point. But this is, I think, where he really started to come into his own.
Mm-hmm. It was all a big, huge swing for the fences. Like, all of it. The entire, the choice to go with the Guardians title, the choice to go with this particular Guardians lineups, because there are Guardians lineups that have more famous characters. But, and then also to make your main character Chris Pratt. Like, he wasn't a movie star.
No.
He's Chris Pratt up to this point. Yeah. It's a whole bunch of swings that every one of them connected.
Yeah, really.
Just nailed it.
Yeah, you're right. And two, man, it's like I love the fact that it introduced like a whole younger generation of kids to like yacht rock.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like all the soundtrack for this movie is all this like soft rock 70s stuff that like I know none of these kids have ever heard before.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like, oh, okay. And again, because I know I got some guitar nerds listening to the show and stuff. Like, whenever I've got, like, some, new, like, young students and stuff, and they're learning chords and things, and they need to learn about these, like, extended, like, jazzy chords, like major 7 and minor 7 and dominant 7 chords and stuff like that. Those are things that seem complex and, like, oh, those are in jazz songs and stuff like that. But the minute you start playing... it's like Redbone. Like now everybody knows that, and I can teach them minor 7 chords in a song because they've heard that because of Guardians.
Hell yeah.
So it's actually like had a good influence on young musicians.
That's great.
Pretty awesome, man.
That is awesome.
Love Guardians. Absolutely one of my favorites.
I'm very glad that Disney saw the error of their ways and brought James Gunn back to do part 3 because firing him was super dumb.
That whole thing was a ruse. That whole thing was a ruse.
Yes.
That was them trying to save face and be like, okay, we're gonna slap a guy who made a un-PC joke on the wrist because we know that people will be mad if we don't. But okay, now you're back.
Yeah. So bringing him back, smartest thing they've done. And
absolutely.
Hopefully, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has Thor in it.
Oh,
I'm just hoping that's what they go with.
I hope. I'm pretty sure that it will. What's another favorite of yours?
Another favorite of mine is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It's fucking great. I slept on that one.
Me too. The first time I watched it, I was a little bit drunk, and I actually was just like, I don't think I like this.
Dude, I watched it post-Endgame.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
It's great. Ghost is awesome. Such a great villain who's not even really the villain.
She's had a hard life.
Yeah, she's had a tough time. You get a lot of Paul Rudd is hilarious, and having him with what's his name? Crap. The Scientologist that's his friend in the...
Scientologist?
Yeah. The guy who plays his manager at the security place. What is that actor?
He's a Scientologist?
Yes, he is.
Man, how come people gotta be Scientologists?
And then T.I.'s creepy spying on his teenage daughter's vagina situation. He's also in there.
Wait, what?
Wait, you didn't? Yeah. Oh, okay. So T.I. apparently,
like the rapper T.I.,
who's in both of the Ant-Man movies. He's one of the security guys.
Yeah.
He tweeted out that he takes his daughter into the gynecologist every year to have her hymen checked to make sure she's not having sex.
What?
She's 18.
What?
Also, he has bragged in the past about his 14-year-old teenage boy having sex. So it's not really about virtue, I don't guess.
Okay.
Really just about controlling your daughter, weirdo.
Beyond why would anybody feel that way or want to control the kids that way, why talk about that in public?
Yeah, why
really? He
tweeted
that?
Yeah. And now his daughter has stopped following him on all social media and stuff.
Shit.
It's big.
How fucking humiliated would you be?
Absolutely.
To be like, my dad checks to see if I'm still a virgin.
Bad women's anatomy. Just so you know, the hymen is not some weird covering over the vagina that gets popped when the freshness seal is broken. It stretches out. It shouldn't rip. You shouldn't be bleeding the first time you have sex.
Yikes.
You're having sex with an asshole who doesn't care that he's hurting you. It's not supposed to rip. It stretches.
That's no
It gets
good.
larger.
That's no good.
And checking for the hymen is some crazy ass weird religious bullshit.
Dude.
Just fucking stop. Let your kids have sex. They're gonna fuck. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Hey,
Just
remember,
stop being disappointed about it.
remember when you were 15 or 16 and you were really horny?
Yeah.
They are too.
They are too. And they're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
And that's
Guess
how
what?
it's gonna be.
That's how humans work.
Yeah. Give them birth control so they don't have babies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give me a Jimmy hat or a pill.
Mm-hmm. No, get them that fucking hardcore shit. Get the plug or the implant.
Chastity belt. Got it.
No. These allow you to have sex,
Safely.
and they're like, wait, no, well,
Not safely.
You
yeah.
still need
Without
to wear
pregnancy.
condoms.
Yeah.
But they're gonna stop pregnancy, and that's the number one thing bringing teenagers down.
Wow.
Getting
Ti.
pregnant. Yeah, what's up, dude?
Lame.
That's fucked up, man.
Lame, dude. Wow.
Anyway, but yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is great. Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer also really makes that movie. Really
She's
improves
fantastic.
it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really, really fun flick, and I love how much they play with just the scale of things.
Mhm.
It gets very like Honey,
Yeah.
I Shrunk the Kids at times.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
the first Ant-Man, they did a lot of fun, like funny bits with being small, like especially the final fight between him and what was it, Yellow Jacket?
Yeah.
They're like, it'll show them having their like epic fight, then go out to regular size,
Yeah,
and
it's like a
just
toy train falling over and shit.
Yeah, like,
it's
that's so funny.
great. It's
But
so great.
they went even further with it in the second one. I think it made it
And
so
of course,
much more fun.
that's also where they introduce like the quantum realm and stuff like that. Which
Yeah.
how fucking exciting is it, and how interesting is it that this day and age, like your average person that goes and watches a Marvel movie
Right.
in theaters knows what the fuck quantum means,
Yes.
or at least has a
Yeah.
vague idea.
They have a vague idea of what it means. They may think it's just a comic book thing, but
Yeah.
that's fine. At least they're like they got a
They're
few
getting the
steps
principle
towards
out there.
understanding.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be very, very,
Yeah.
very important in the future.
Yeah.
I love that idea that they really fuck with the idea of scale. And this is one of those things that to me was very mind blowing whenever actually it was one of Kate's cousins like kind of introduced me to this idea like a long time ago. But you know, it's like if you believe in the concept that the universe is infinitely big,
Yeah.
right? Which I think most sane people do. I don't think most people think that there's a bubble at the edge of the universe. It's like I think we all think of things as being infinitely large.
The edge of the universe is a constant uncertainty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to say there's an edge to the universe is not entirely wrong because it's expanding outward, but it's also constantly expanding outward, so there's no ever moment that there's an edge.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, if it's always in motion,
Yeah.
there's never an end.
Mhm.
But with that concept in mind that things are infinitely big, it's like, well, how small do you think things get? Infinity is not a one-way street
Yeah,
that starts at
it's
zero and goes up.
Infinitely small. Is
Yeah,
all,
exactly. So to me, it just kind of introduced this notion that, you know, all sense of scale is destroyed. It's like how big I think something is irrelevant
Yeah.
because there's things that are infinitely larger and smaller than my perception of them.
Yeah, I mean, Emily and I were talking about the Big Bang the other day, and it's like, just imagine the entire universe used to be one mass, one dense mass, like super dense.
That thing was thick.
Dense to the point of creating the Big Bang and creating this universe that is gigantic.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, all came from just a tiny little thing. So yeah, like the idea of going into the quantum realm is real interesting.
Yeah.
And they also do that. Some interesting stuff like that in Doctor Strange, going into the mystical element.
Doctor Strange was really good.
Doctor Strange is good,
I
yeah.
really like that.
Yeah.
Again, that's kind of a B-list character, too.
Yeah.
It's like your average person on the street, they knew Spider-Man before
think
all this stuff started, but Doctor Strange, not so much. That's a cool
think that's
movie.
why we get to enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok and Doctor Strange, because they know that they've got this captive audience who want to see everything MCU, so they know they don't have to dumb it down. They can make it what it was in the comics. So it can be this, like, you know, Doctor Strange, just like trippy experience, going into very mystical and strange ideas and stuff. And people will still go watch it because it's, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch. We know who that guy is.
Yeah.
He's in a Marvel movie. I got to see
dude,
it so I can see what goes on in the other Marvel movies.
It's totally the airplane going into the hangar with the vegetables on the spoon. Here it comes.
And then
Benedict
you're like,
Cumberbatch.
I liked it.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? You kind of learned something about the quantum realm.
Yeah, it's real
while
cool
you watch
stuff.
this shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, that's a great flick. I really enjoyed that one too.
Well, let's talk Spider-Mans.
There's a lot of Spider-Mans out there. My favorite has got to be a Homecoming. I've still not seen Far From Home though, so.
Well, what about Into the Spider-Verse?
Oh my God, Into the Spider-Verse is so fucking good. It's so good, man.
That's a real tough choice for me between Homecoming and Into the Spider-Verse. Far From Home is really good. It's not as good as Homecoming.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the first Spider-Man 2. And at the time, it
Tobey
was...
Maguire Spider-Man 2.
At the time, it was, I would say, the best comic book movie that had come out.
Was that Green Goblin in that one? Or was that
No,
Doc
Green
Ock?
Goblin's the first one.
First one.
Yeah.
Doc Ock.
Second one's Doc Ock.
It's been so long since I watched it. I literally don't remember anything about it.
Mm-hmm. It's... Man, let me tell you.
It's good?
It's still good.
Well,
Still a
shit.
good. Still a good movie, but it's not... I mean, when you compare... Like, the thing is... To say it's one of the greatest of all time is actually not true. It's the greatest of its time.
Greatest of its time.
But once you start comparing it to all the movies that have come since Iron Man, it's hard to compare it. Because it's just not as... I don't know. It's not as dialed in.
It's one of those things that you have to appreciate on a different level, because whenever you see a comic book movie now and it's amazing, it's like, well, yeah, it's amazing, but they also had lots of things to evaluate what works and doesn't work that came
they know
before
the formula.
it.
Also, all the movies that came before it set this up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to go into tons of exposition, which is something we'll talk about with Blade.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But whenever you see these movies that just kind of like came out and they were great without any previous, pattern or example to work off of, people like this, it is good. It's maybe even more impressive.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
That's
you
true.
know? Because this had no model to pattern itself after.
Yeah. Yeah. But Into the Spider-Verse is a goddamn masterpiece.
That's fucking fantastic. Yeah. Incredible animation. Easily one of the best animated flicks ever.
And probably my most anticipated sequel coming out. Because I look at all the movies that are coming out, and I'm excited to see Black Widow and Thor 4 and Guardians 3 and Black Panther 2, all that stuff. But Into the Spider-Verse 2, I just want to see where they go with it. I'm really interested to see who all they bring into it.
Yeah. And I definitely know now, like, having seen the first one at home and watching it on my TV.
Oh, yeah. Now go see it in the theater.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know for sure
Yes.
I will be watching this next one in the theater, and I might be in an altered state of consciousness.
Yeah, for sure.
To enhance it.
And if the 3D technology is still there, I might see it in 3D, because I really thought this movie, or Into the Spider-Verse, the first one, it probably would have benefited in some ways from the 3D technology, especially the fights.
Yeah, I was going to say that last fight scene especially would have been amazing. We have to talk about an Avenger movie. I think that...
Yeah, I mean, all of them real fun. They've got our big names in them.
Yeah. I think the first one's still my favorite.
Yeah. Them coming together reluctantly. And
I love an origin story. I love a setup story. And it has such a great balance of humor and action.
Yeah.
And just good comic book shit.
I liked Age of Ultron a good bit because it introduced Scarlet Witch, who is one of my favorite characters in the comics, but also played by Elizabeth Olsen, who I adore. I think she's gorgeous, and I love her in everything she's in. She seems to be awesome at everything. So,
totally, man, totally. Yeah, Ultron got like a little emo at times.
He did.
Everybody had their kind of PTSD storyline they were dealing with and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, like Endgame and Infinity War and stuff are just epic beyond belief.
Yeah. The final battle in Endgame is. I mean, that's up
like
there.
Lord of the Rings
final
level.
battles. Yeah. I was gonna say, as far as final battles go, it's up there with Lord of the Rings final battle.
For sure. But I like the fact that, well, and this is kind of funny even to look at it this way. I was gonna say just how small scale the original Avengers is.
It is.
It's just
in
the fate of the
comparison to what
world.
we ended up going to, though. Yeah,
totally.
Instead of just
right?
the fate of the world, it's the fate of half the universe.
Yeah, half
actually
the fucking universe.
By the time Thanos gets the Infinity Gauntlet in Endgame, it would be the fate of the entirety of the universe, because he's just going to start over.
Pretty big deal shit.
Yeah,
pretty big deal shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that is when you start out with the fate of the world. It does seem to be like, what are the stakes
battle of
from
New
there?
York City?
Yeah,
wow, yeah, versus half the fucking
everything.
entire universe,
right?
Not half the Earth, half
everything.
of everything. Good Lord, man. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the future Avengers installments. There's always rumors about Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I hope Doom. I hope Doom. I hope that that Black Widow is set in Latveria and it all ends with Doom in some way. I hope for Doom.
That would be perfect setup.
It would be. Because she's in an Eastern European country. We know that. So, like, why not send her to Latveria? And
man.
Be fucking awesome.
I heard rumors of, like, a Viggo Mortensen cast as Dr. Doom.
I would love that.
10. That's an easy 10. That would be fucking awesome, man. Yeah.
Doom is the most... let's see. There's Magneto. Magneto's extremely interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But Doom's whole thing is, like... If you go into Doom's actual like comic history, he is as old as the Earth. Like he goes back in time and gets trained by this mysterious force, which actually turns out to be him from the future.
What?
It's crazy. Doom's mystic history is crazy.
At one point, I think he wields the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics too, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe that was in I think
I might be wrong about that.
Maybe in Infinity War 2, but he is involved in the Secret Wars, which is what I think they might be building with, since they've already introduced the Skrulls.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's also how they could get the Fantastic Four in the MCU and stuff.
And that would be interesting. Yeah, because Fantastic Four, they don't need another Fantastic Four movie to come out. They can just introduce them in the other movies.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if we actually care about them, maybe do a Fantastic Four movie.
Those other Fantastic Four flicks have been disastrous.
Fantastic Four 2 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Not just comic book movies. It is horrendous. Saw it. So fucking bad.
Who's the big bad in that? Is it Galactus?
Yeah, but it's just like, that's not even important in it. There's a long dance scene with Mr. Fantastic doing goofy, rubbery things.
For the kids.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my god, dude. But yeah, of the Avengers, I think I still like the OG the best, just in terms of like watchability, fun factor, oohs and ahs, laughs and claps.
Yeah, and that feeling of finally all of these huge names have come together. Dude. Because even in the X-Men movies before this, which we don't have to talk about them, but X2
easily the best. Yeah. Dude, Nightcrawler in that. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And then X-Men Days of Future Past was also really good. Days of Future Past
is good. And I like First Class.
And then Wolverine, the last Wolverine movie.
Man.
It was so fucking good.
That
Actually,
is good. That is a dark ass movie.
Also, Wolverine, the one in Japan, was really good too.
Man, I like the first of it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like a lot of the movie. I watched that on tour with Whitechapel in the bus one night while I had kind of a cold going on.
Oh,
being sick on tour sucks.
I bet.
Being sick on tour sucks. Me and Zach Householder, who I hope to get on the show sometime soon, especially now that I live in Knoxville.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Bring him on.
He's a huge horror fan, too. He's got fucking Evil Dead knuckle tats, dude.
Do what?
Yeah. So he should be on the show sometime. But we watched that movie, and we were both like, well, it had cool things.
I had a lot of fun with it. But, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
To me, it's a shame that, like, we have Hugh Jackman, who is the perfect fucking
He's
Wolverine.
The perfect Wolverine,
Although he's, like, 2 feet too tall to be Wolverine.
That's true.
Let's be honest.
That is true. Wolverine is supposed to be short.
Yeah, but he's had, like, very little great movies to be in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That is true. He's in a lot of shit.
Yeah. What a waste, man. What a waste. You got any other big titles you want to talk about before we get into Blade?
No, well, I mean, Deadpool, obviously.
Yeah. Dude, fucking
Deadpool movies are great.
Flawless. Yeah. I love the Deadpool movies. I'm a gigantic Deadpool fan. I love the original, I think it was a 4-issue run that Joe Madureira illustrated, like, way back in the day. I've been a Deadpool nut for a really long time. So to watch those movies and see that, well, again, it's like we talked about before. Whenever you get somebody that gives a shit about the properties, guess what? Good things happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened with the Wolverine role for Hugh Jackman. That's why he's in so many of the X-Men movies, because he gave a shit about the fucking role and really pushed for it and nailed it every time. Same with Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, it tickles me to no end that finally the rest of the world is seeing what I have seen all along in these stories of these characters and these mutants and these villains and so on. Like, finally the world is getting to see how cool that stuff is, because as a kid growing up in, late 80s, early 90s and stuff, it was just nerd shit. It was just dweeb shit. Only fucking nerds read comics.
And animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some good animation in the 90s, but yeah, we couldn't just go see a comic book movie.
Totally.
Well, I mean, the Batman movies. The Superman movies from the 70s and 80s weren't really still popular. The Batman movies got silly pretty quick.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. But, now it's like finally people understand that these characters are cool.
Yeah.
Their stories are interesting. And the fact that they're fantastical and unrealistic doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. It's weird that people were cool with Die Hard, but then like the idea of a superhero was like, no way somebody could do that. Certainly somebody could grab onto a fire hose and swing off the side of a building barefoot and then kick through like an inch of glass.
Yeah. But like somebody like fucking Tony Stark, who just happens to be a genius and makes a robotic suit for himself.
Geniuses don't exist.
Lame.
That's a lie.
yeah, geniuses don't exist. Only a rumor. I've never met one. So, all right, Steve. The subject of our show today is none other than Blurred.
Blurred. Starring Wesley Snipes.
Starring Sturvender. I'm gonna guess this weren't your first time seeing this talkie.
No, I remember seeing this back in the day. This was still at a time though when excitement for comic book movies was always muted.
Yeah, the nerds would get riled up, but not everybody else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this was Marvel's first financial success.
That's crazy to think about, because in my head, this is barely a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
Like, this didn't jumpstart things like, let's say, Iron Man did. Like, whenever Iron Man was such a hit, you were like, this is the start of something huge. This movie did really well.
Yeah.
And then it'd be a while before anything else really happened.
I mean, it would be 10 years before Iron Man would come out. But this did the success of this obscure character in an R-rated film that is violent and gory.
Yeah.
That gave Marvel the idea for what would eventually become the MCU.
That is such a bold move to me. Yeah. That's one of those things that, like, when you look back at, again, the state of comic books and movies, even just the state of comic books at that time, just considering that they're like, what if we bet on R-rated, starring a black person, not even an A-list character.
Yeah, not even because Blade movie is just part of like the Ghost Rider universe. Like, why not go Ghost Rider first? Well, that's going to be too much CG. Why not go with Iron Man? Too much CG. Like, all these other people with all these costumes, too much CG.
Yeah.
Blade, you need martial arts. You find a guy who can do martial arts.
Yeah, and the costume is leather and fucking swords. Like, it's not like an impossible feat of CGI to make this character appear on the screen. So I mean, that's why one of the first big Marvel flicks was Punisher.
Yeah.
It's a white guy with guns.
Yeah, white guy with guns. It's not hard.
No.
Yeah. So the idea is basically like, okay, well, we can do this in some real basic capacity and see where it goes.
Yeah, use this as kind of a barometer.
Mm-hmm. And it worked. I mean, the budget was $45 million. They made $131.2 million.
Wow.
So made good money. Ended up being a trilogy that all made money. So that made it possible because let's see. This came out in 98. The second one came out in 2002. I think the last one came out in 2004.
Wow.
So just
I don't know if I've ever seen the third one.
It's not good.
That's not fair.
But it's only a few years before Iron Man would come out. The Blade trilogy ends. The X-Men movies hadn't started yet. They wouldn't come out until 2000. Spider-Man 1, I think, came out in 2002.
Dang. I mean, this is really the front runner by a mile.
Yeah. I mean, it's out before Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Spider-Man.
And it's R-rated.
Those are main title.
And it's R-rated black man movie.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
How in the fuck did this hit?
And it did, though. Because, well, that's the thing is, I think one of the things they thought smartly was won't cost us a lot in costuming and CGI and stuff. And also, it's kind of a horror movie, and people go see horror movies.
People are ready for gore and brutality and stuff whenever they're thinking horror. Yeah.
Right. So if you sell them on the horror element, the vampire element, they don't even have to know anything about comic book.
That's true. And it's not like for this story to work, you need to know about fucking Ghost Rider.
No, you don't need to know anything about this universe.
Pretty well a freestanding universe that this exists in. Yeah, there's no references to any other Marvel properties here.
No, but this movie does. It gets bogged down in exposition because the obscurity of Blade does have to be explained in some way.
Well, it's not like, everybody on the street knows fucking Uncle Ben,
right?
With great power.
You're not going to get away with that. Yeah, you're not going to get away with just mentioning something because it's so famous, everybody knows it.
Right.
But you need to know the origin of Blade, who these vampires he's fighting against are, why he's fighting against them, what their evil plan is, all this stuff, and that all involves this deep mythology and stuff. And they could have skipped it to just make a good action movie, but they did. And that's why I think it was smart. It's not great to have exposition into the third act, but it was smart of Marvel to test the waters and see how much storytelling they need to be doing.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And just to see, it's like, will people pay attention to this much lore and mythology and stuff? Yeah. Turns out they will.
Yeah. And when we talk about Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four, those aren't Marvel Studios movies.
Right.
So Marvel wasn't fully involved in those the way it was with Blade. Now, this is a New Line production, but Marvel Studios is entirely involved in it.
New Line, the house that Freddy built.
Yeah.
A studio known for horror.
Yeah, and so you can see why New Line would be like, okay, that's a cool idea.
It's a comic book movie, but it's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
We can work with this.
Bloody as shit.
Yeah, and you've got a gigantic-ass action star in it and shit.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, of course. Let's do this.
Yeah. He'd been well-established for fucking decades by this point.
Yeah, he had already been, White Men Can't Jump had already come out.
Fucking Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, yeah. He'd already been an action star for a while. So selling this was probably not as big of a leap as you might think. Just as long as you position it as it's this vampire horror movie with Wesley Snipes, they're going to be
based on a Marvel property.
Based on a Marvel property.
Yeah, it's like you can lead with a Wesley Snipes action vampire movie.
Yeah.
Then, P.S., based on a Marvel property.
And it's interesting to me to think about this. This must have been something people were looking for because, we just did Interview, which came out in 1994. Interview with the Vampire came out in 94, and that was a hit. So vampires were kind of a hit in the mid-90s. And then we've already done a movie called John Carpenter's Vampires, which came out this same year, which is also an action vampire movie about vampire hunters. So there must have been some buzz in Hollywood around the same time about it. And that probably helped sell it.
I wonder what the missing piece of the vampire puzzle is there that we're forgetting about. Like, there must have been some other novel or movie or TV series
something else that came out that really hit at that time.
Yeah, that put vampire in the cultural zeitgeist.
Well, I mean, Angel and Buffy.
That's true.
Didn't they come out around that time?
I think so.
Yeah, Buffy, I think, came out around 98. So maybe
that's it. Yeah, maybe that did
but
help
I mean, that's what I'm
this.
saying is, vampires were already pretty much hitting in Hollywood around that time. So yeah, it's again a good part of the pitch. Not just comic book character, but a vampire hunter.
It is funny when you think about just how far ahead of the curve this was, because, like, I remember, for one, whenever Deadpool came out and people are like, oh my God, R-rated comic movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that was done in 1998.
Yeah, they already did that, and they did it as R as you can fucking get.
It's very R-rated, yeah. And then also, too, when it was like Black Panther came out, finally a black Marvel superhero. It's like,
Wesley Snipes?
like that one from 1998 with Wesley Snipes?
Okay, so
he's not as much of a role model as fucking Black Panther, let's be honest. But
let me, since you mentioned that, let me get into the production a little bit.
Get in there.
Because Wesley Snipes, since he had become famous, had been trying to get a Black Panther movie made.
Okay.
So he had been working with Marvel trying to get this Black Panther movie made.
Yeah.
Marvel Studios began developing a Blade movie as early as 1992.
Whoa.
When LL Cool J was interested in playing the role.
Uncle L?
Uncle L. Ladies love Cool James.
Ladies love Cool James, who we talked about on our fucking Deep Blue Sea episode.
Yeah. So LL...
The very same.
Yeah, he was interested in playing the lead role in a Blade movie. This is 92, so it's probably not going to happen. Same time, Wesley Snipes is trying to get a Black Panther movie made. Wesley Snipes, of course, is a movie star, and LL Cool J at the time is not. So
yeah, no, he wasn't an actor at that time, so that was very out of nowhere.
But the Blade movie idea kind of got rolling, and then they were thinking New Line had 3 actors that they were looking at. Wesley Snipes was number 1.
Okay.
Then Denzel Washington and Lawrence Fishburne.
I couldn't see Denzel.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that Denzel could play this. I mean, Denzel's played action roles.
He's played hard ass roles
he's
and stuff.
Not like kung fu roles.
That's what I was gonna say. Like he doesn't have that martial arts background that a character like Blade needs.
Yeah, and Lawrence Fishburne,
Cowboy Curtis,
we'd see the next year as Morpheus. So like,
Matrix is only a year after this.
Yeah, 99.
Holy fuck. That's crazy. I didn't think about that.
So Matrix looks a lot like this.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
All that like
and
black leather and ravers and the soundtrack and stuff.
And the fight scenes and stuff. Yeah, so
wow.
That could have worked.
There's even a scene in this that's very like bullet time Matrix-esque.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So
this might be a more influential movie than
exactly.
I give it credit
people
for.
are overlooking it, I think. This is a very influential movie.
Wow.
And so they basically had these 3 guys they wanted to do. Wesley Snipes really wanted to be Black Panther, so he's interested in playing a comic book role. And David S. Goyer, who wrote the screenplay, who has written screenplays that you've probably heard of.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Batman Begins?
I've heard of it.
Have you heard of Dark Knight?
I have heard about Dark Knight.
Okay. Did you ever hear of a Batman versus Superman?
Batman. Oh, versus Superman. Yeah.
Did you ever hear of the show Constantine? This guy's written a lot of comic book stuff.
Yeah, apparently he might be a fucking dork. Dude, I bet he's got his ankles showing from his high water pants.
Yeah.
But his glasses are taped together.
He's always carrying books.
Eating
just
cheese.
Ready to be knocked out of his hand.
You want to get some cheese?
Everybody got any cheese?
He probably says things like that.
Only nerds eat cheese. What?
What?
I don't know.
What?
But he also wrote a movie that came out in 1998 that was also an influence on The Matrix, Dark City.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This movie had a big influence on The Matrix, I think,
kidding.
as well as Dark City.
Dark City,
so David
one of
S.
the
Goyer.
more underrated flicks,
yeah,
I think, ever. I think The Matrix actually ripped Dark City
it did.
really,
For sure.
really hard.
Yeah, I would say so.
Damn, so this had some pretty serious firepower.
It did.
Going behind it on the production side of things.
They wanted Jet Li to play Deacon Frost.
Okay.
But he had already signed...
martial arts badass.
Yeah, and that would have been awesome.
That would have been fine, yeah.
But he had already signed on for Lethal Weapon 4.
Was Frost a character from the comic, or did they make him up for
Deacon
this?
Frost and I believe Deacon Frost and Blade were introduced in the same issue of Tales of Dracula or something.
Yeah.
Something like
I think that's right. Yeah. It was like late 70s, I think?
Late 70s.
Was he always black? Was Blade always black?
Blade was always black. In fact, the early version of Blade wasn't exactly like the Blade that we see in the movie. He was less angry and more of just like broad 70s black character who just hated vampires.
All right, okay. More like fucking Dolomite that
Yeah,
kills
he had
vamps.
like an afro and he would say very stereotypical black stuff. But the creator, the creator of Blade, he sort of put Blade down because he didn't feel like he was a good enough writer to write him yet, and took him back up a few years later and made him this much more complex character.
That's cool.
But then the movie changed Blade again, because Blade in the movie isn't a vampire. He's not a daywalker. Or in the comic books. He wasn't a vampire. He wasn't a daywalker.
Oh.
He just
Was
had
he just human?
He had received some of the vampire's strength and stuff as his mother was bitten as she was giving birth to him.
Oh, okay. So that was still part of the lore.
It was still the same sort of story, but he wasn't an actual vampire like he is in this.
Yeah.
But they went back the next year after this came out and they retconned the character and had him be bitten by Morbius. So he has these vampire traits, but he also uses that serum to sort of keep them at bay.
Yeah, fight the bloodlust.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I kind of find a little bit more interesting.
It's
than
way
just,
more interesting.
Yeah, a guy who's a human that happens to have cool vampire powers.
Right.
Like, it's kind of cooler that he is hunting down the thing that he himself is.
Yeah.
You know?
He hates them, and he is
them at the same time. Yeah. Like, that's a really cool kind of set of traits to have in a character. So that works pretty well. See, the Blade comics, I never read. Like, there was this weird sect of like, okay, so many Marvel comics back in the day were Comics Code approved.
Yeah.
And very fucking whatever, kid friendly and stuff like that. I grew up super conservative.
Right. So you didn't get to see the darker one.
No.
Yeah.
So like I never really got to get issues of Ghost Rider or Blade or any of those kinds of things.
I was fortunate in that I could pick up a issue of Ghost Rider with a completely black cover that has like an embossed devil face on it, and my mom was like, okay.
Oh, dude, that could never make its way into my house. I bet that seriously, like when we were kids, before we knew each other, I bet that you were probably like the other grubby fucking Tennessee kid prowling through long boxes at the flea market next to me. And I was like, that kid gets to get the cool stuff.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of Ghost Rider and Blade comic books back in the day. It was at the Morristown flea market.
Wait. Did you ever happen to slap a stack of comics out of a kid's hands and go, "Get out of my face, bowl cut"?
Well, yeah, but I did that weekly. That could have been you.
That was me.
Oh, it was you every week?
That was me every fucking week, man.
Oh, that explains why I remember saying, "You, Ben Eller, I am slapping these out of your hand.
Bowl cut.
Bowl cut."
And I said,
that bowl is not smoking.
Don't soil my issues of Sad Sack and the Sarge.
Sad Sack and the Sarge. Oh, that sounds like a great comic.
It wasn't.
No.
Not good. Not good. Family friendly, though.
But I remember reading Blade and Ghost Rider, and they were so far above my head. I didn't get them, but they looked so cool.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah,
just
fucking
such
Dan
interesting
Ketch,
stuff.
Ghost Rider with his flaming skull head motorcycle.
Yeah.
Badass shit.
It was, and that was, I mean, in the 90s as a tween and then early teen, reading comics really was just about what looked the coolest. It wasn't about stories. I remember
we grew up in like the art heyday.
Yeah.
You know, where it was really just kind of the drawings.
I remember the first time I got that stories were impertinent. So I had seen Grendel in the Wizard magazine so many times. I thought Grendel looked so fucking cool.
He looks badass, dude.
So the comic book shop in downtown Jefferson City had the 6-issue, I think it was a 6-issue run of Grendel, 4 Devils, 1 Hell, and I bought it and started reading it, and it was like, oh shit, story.
Yeah, they're telling stories.
Yeah.
And
the art was like so interesting and cool.
Sick, dude.
So that was when I started to realize I could read it for stories, but I remember reading those Blade and Ghost Rider comics and being like, this is so far above my head.
Dude, I did, and this is confession time. I got another confession to make.
Let's hear it.
Dude, my mom, if she's listening, she's going to be so pissed.
I bet she listens a lot.
There were a few times that me and my mom and my dad and my brother, we might all get in the car and go to that flea market, right?
Yeah.
Up in Morristown. And, we're talking open air gravel parking lot, really shady flea market. I might go off and be like, hey, Mom, me and my bowl cut are going to go find some comic books. Bye. And I might just, venture off on my own, find a comics dealer. I might have bought an issue of Ghost Rider or 2. Threw away the bag and board. Slipped them behind a slightly more innocent looking comic.
Damn.
And brought that shit home. Ben, what did you buy?
Archie.
I bought this and this Archie and Jughead.
Uh-huh.
But behind it,
Boom.
fucking Ghost Rider. I did that a time or two. I really, really did.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Mom. I'm not sorry.
Yeah, why would you be sorry?
No.
She was being ridiculous. Yeah. That's crazy. That's funny.
Man. Dude, yeah. Very conservative. Very, very conservative.
It's directed by Stephen Norrington, who didn't do much before this and then basically just did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen after this.
Oh, which is something. It's a movie I've seen.
It's not. I mean, the comic is great, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but the movie,
But that's kind of all this guy did?
Kind of all he did.
I mean, when you watch this movie, I mean, let's be clear. This isn't the fucking greatest movie.
No, it's not a great
time.
movie, and it's not even like a top 20 comic book movie.
Not now.
Probably.
Yeah,
not now.
Not by this point.
But at the time, damn.
It's very competently made. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, well, I can see why that guy quit working. He sucks as a director. Like, no. Not really.
No, it's a good movie.
It's very competently done, man.
So I don't know what happened there. David S. Goyer, of course, has gone on to do a ton more, so it's interesting.
Wow.
Cast. Wesley
Let's
Snipes.
get in this cast here a little bit.
Wesley Snipes is, he's been doing martial arts since he was 12.
Wow.
He's like a 4th degree black belt or something. I don't know what that fully means or whatever.
But he's a badass.
But he's a legit badass. And so to have a guy who can do the actual martial arts in the role instead of having to bring in a stuntman, I would assume for every other shot, most of the fights, he's doing insane shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's, as far as I understand, that is Wesley Snipes in every shot.
Damn.
He's
That's
a badass,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I really could have thought of anybody who would have been better
No.
for the role of Blade at this time,
No.
man. I mean, he really is a really good balance of being, hard ass and like mysterious.
Yeah, you need a broody guy to be Blade. So Marshall Ali will play that element, but
I don't know him. Who's that?
Have you seen Moonlight?
Yes.
Well, he's in. Yeah, and you
Moonlight
can
was
see
amazing.
it. You can see it just thinking of him. Like, he can do it. He's going to take some training, though. I mean, Wesley Snipes already had years and years of training up to this. He's going to take some training to do it. But I think he'll be able to play it. But Wesley Snipes, I'm sure they considered bringing him back in. It's probably just one of those things where it's like, well, then people would want to connect the old movies.
Yeah,
to the
they'll
new
think
movie.
it's a sequel. They'll think it's like Blade 4.
Yeah,
that's what I was wondering.
He's having like since he's out. He went to jail in like 2010 for tax evasion.
Yeah.
Since then, though, he's had sort of a career renaissance. So really
nice. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if the new one is going to be connected to these at all. It's just a retcon. It's just a start over.
Yeah, it's just starting
That's
completely
fine,
over, which is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that's happened in the MCU since then.
Yeah.
It kind of makes more sense to do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool news about that casting. I look forward to seeing that guy. But Wesley Snipes in this role, I think, is pretty sick. He does get a bit quippy.
He does. He's got some interesting lines.
He's got some zingers in here.
Yeah.
Such as some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill.
Always trying to ice skate uphill.
That's something people say, right?
You may wake up one day and find yourself extinct.
Oh, man.
That blew my mind as I was writing it down. First off, not only do you find you are dead, you find your entire species is extinct, but somehow you woke up.
What the hells?
It's crazy.
Pretty intense stuff.
And he also says motherfucker several times, which I appreciated.
Very many times. Yeah. Very, very many times. Yeah, this movie definitely did not have its like language filter on.
I didn't know it was R when I first started watching it again. I didn't remember it being R, and it's pretty quick where it's just like blood everywhere and fuck, and I was like, yes, okay.
This is a hard R movie for sure. Yeah, he's good in this. Like I said, all of his action stuff that he does, I think, is fantastic. He's one of those guys that you can watch him on screen and be like, yeah, he actually knows what he's doing. He's been trained in the fighting styles. He's been trained in handling weapons, guns, and fucking swords and stuff like this. Like, he seems to know his way around combat And a tribal tattoo.
And a tribal tattoo. Yeah, that's 90s as hell.
Which, if you guys listened to our interview with the vampire episode last week, we were talking about how, I guess in that world, when you get bit, you're permanently stuck as how you were when you got bit.
But in this world, vampires age, but they age slower.
A lot slower,
A lot slower, yeah.
And I would assume you can get tattoos as a vampire.
It looks that way, I would imagine, because they seem... He has a healing factor for sure, but... Well, yeah, I don't know. Because he has one. He has several tattoos. Yeah, so I assume it has to work. But actually, it might just heal faster.
It gets fuzzy, though. Yeah. When you think about how, like, Stephen Dorff's character in this, like, he's got that scar on his face from before he was a vampire.
Right.
So it doesn't heal past wounds. It would seem as though Stephen Dorff is stuck how he was when he got turned, I guess. That's weird. A little fuzzy on the lore.
Okay. Well, okay, but a tattoo's not scar tissue. It's introduction of ink into the skin.
Yeah.
But it does seem like if you had a healing factor, it would reject that.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think it would heal over and stuff. So I don't know.
Okay.
A little fuzzy right there.
That is a little fuzzy, yeah.
Stephen Dorff is that guy who I see and I'm like, I know him, but I don't know who he is.
He's the guy who wants to take his freedom back.
In what?
Because you know how people can't just smoke and blow their smoke in your face while you're eating food now? He was pissed about that.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like a lot of smokers.
Like in real life, he was really pissed about that?
I'm not sure if he was in real life, but he was in a commercial for a vape cigarette.
Oh, fucking seriously?
Yeah, and he was like, we gotta take our freedom back.
Jesus
And that's how his voice sounds, and it's almost like, boy, if you put two and two together here, you taking your freedom back and that horrendous voice of yours kind of go together. We gotta take our freedom back.
Oh my god, dude! Like, do you know anything else that I know him from? That's one of those
he was
names
in True Detective season 3. Have you watched that?
No.
Also Mahershala Ali. What is he in? The Gate. Is he in The Gate?
Is he in The Gate?
He's in a horror movie from the 80s. I think it may have been The Gate.
Okay. He's one of those names that, like, I know that I know Stephen Dorff.
He's in other stuff. You've definitely seen him, but I can't think of anything.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
What do you think about him in this?
Okay.
He's kind of scuzzy, kind of shitty. Yeah, he's this, like, turned vampire.
And he plays that role well. He actually kind of has almost, like, I would say that they were going for a Lestat type feel.
He's got kind of a Draco Malfoy sort of ism about him a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to know that they considered Jet Li for that role because I wonder how he would have played it.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Dorff probably plays that role better, though Jet Li would have been better in the fights for sure.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I think that he's pretty good in this. I think he does a good job of being kind of like smarmy and kind of elite. Mm-hmm. But also thinking he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, he's a good actor in general. I mean, stuff he's in, he tends to do a great job. I don't know. I don't know that the final fight between him and Blade has the stakes that I want it to, even though they keep adding more and more exposition to try to up the stakes.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like paying attention to Blade and all the cool stuff he's doing. And then also on the side, you got Stephen Dorff doing cool stuff that's like, I'm going to take down all these old ass vampires or whatever. But then when they kind of meet together, I wish there had been some more friction in the middle to kind of lead up to that point.
I can see that.
Because then they have to explain that, Stephen Dorff was the one who turned you because he killed your mom.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
we're already
a very
like
late
near
in
the end of the movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That should have been revealed way earlier.
That would have been good.
Yeah, then the final fight matters instead of it being like, I'm the one who turned you. Now let's fight.
Yeah.
The end of movie.
Yeah, it is very, very last minute with that revelation. That was one of those things that when it got to that point in the movie, which is a pretty long movie,
Yeah, it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And it's all of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it doesn't... I'm not going to say that drags, but
It's
yes,
just
it
they fit a
feels
lot.
like a 2-hour
They
movie.
fit a lot into 2 hours.
Yeah.
A whole lot of story.
By the time that revelation came,
Yeah, it just...
yeah, Kate
It's
and I
so
were both
much had
just
already
like,
happened where it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's like by that point,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I see the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Also, he turned him.
The stakes
okay.
are already high because he killed Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
Who we also should talk about is in this
Definitely.
movie,
Yeah.
and I think nails it.
Yeah, I think he's fucking
Yeah.
awesome in this, man.
But that was enough, right? Shouldn't that have been enough that he killed Chris
Yeah,
Christopherson?
his fucking buddy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so, but yeah, they just felt the need to take it one higher
But it
and
isn't.
go full Joker with Batman. I killed your parents, Jack Napier.
I'll tell you what may have happened because I'm thinking about it now, and I'm saying out
Excuse
loud.
me, I said Jack Napier. Joe Chill is who I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. Not Jack. Jack Napier did not kill Batman's parents.
For sure.
You're gonna get Jack Napier killed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know
guys.
Batman's
Sorry.
listening.
I do.
He
Sorry.
calls in every week.
Hey, it's Batman. Yeah, it's a good episode. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, anyway, yeah, what was I talking about? So yeah, saying it out loud, saying that Chris Christopherson getting killed should be enough, is right. But then watching the movie, it wasn't. I remember in watching the movie, by the time it got to that point, I was like, oh, okay. Like it still wasn't invested enough. And I think, well, what happened was the original cut of this movie is 140 minutes. So 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Damn. 220?
Yeah.
You couldn't tell this story in less than 2 hours?
That's a good question.
Woof.
Then when they showed it to test audiences hated it.
Ooh,
Couldn't follow it at all.
Wow.
So they delayed releasing it for 6 months so they could go back and do reshoots and hard edits of the movie.
and that's a bad sign.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
So the fact that this movie still kind of succeeds in being interesting and fun and was able to get a sequel that is far superior and a really good comic book movie, that's surprising. But they pulled it out. They pulled out of 140 minutes doing
Wow.
some recuts and some edits. They pulled it into a passable movie.
Actually got something out of
Yeah.
it. Wow. What about old Chris Christopherson in here,
Yeah,
man?
he's scuzzy as shit.
He's just a crusty,
yeah,
nasty, like...
and nails it. He's perfect for it.
He's kind of like a bad version of the dude.
Yes,
You know? Like, he's totally got that...
like if the dude were everything opposite of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If the dude was like from Morristown, I think he'd be this guy.
yeah,
You know? But I think he's great in this, man.
yeah. He is.
He does a really good job.
Yeah, he's really good and portrays the character well, and it just the level of people in this is all like how do I say this? The scuzzy level of people in this is all about the same. So the
Yeah.
vampires and the heroes.
Yeah, lots of scuzz buckets
It's
here.
just scuzzy. Like
Yeah.
it's just this gross underworld. And again, that is Blade. That is the comic books. How was this the movie they worked from 1992 to make though? Like
I don't know.
how was that the one Marvel was like, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, put all the millions into this one.
And again, they nailed it. Like
Yeah.
they still hit it. So they really must have done some amazing research that just realized if we put Wesley Snipes as a vampire killer, this shit'll hit.
I think there must have been some sort of like prophecy that was foretold by a witch.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, it was probably really vague.
The Marvel Witch division is pretty huge.
pretty large. Really.
In the 80s, it got lowered because they were going out of business almost,
Sure, yeah.
but they've upped it.
Came back pretty hard.
Yeah.
Paid off in spades.
They have 3 witches come in and do a spell, and then they're
The
like,
Sanderson sisters.
You're gonna cover Blade.
Cackle.
and they're like, okay, we're gonna do a Blade movie,
Do
I
it
guess.
late, I guess. The
Who's
witches
gonna
told us.
Who's gonna star in it?
Mahershala Ali.
Is that Wesley Snipes?
No. What?
What?
I thought I was clear.
We got some other really cool characters in this too, man. I love
Yeah.
the dude that plays Quinn. Like Quinn
Oh,
is this
Donald
guy.
Logue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like kind of a shitbag, hateable accomplice guy.
Yeah,
but
who just can't be killed.
yeah, he gets just
so powerful.
fucking obliterated
Yeah.
time and time and time again. He is just like a fucking blood bag this whole movie.
Yeah. He's really fun, really funny. Donald Logue's always good. I mean, even in shit, he's
What else do I know him from?
Of course, you know him from Reindeer Games, your favorite movie.
Reindeer Games with Ben Affleck.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right.
What else do you know him from? Ghost Rider? He was in one of the Ghost Rider movies for sure.
Okay, all right.
He had a CBS sitcom.
Really?
He did. I think everybody's had a CBS sitcom.
I had that one
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
Yep. I remember that. What was that called again?
Don't
Ben
blame
and Kate?
No,
That was Fox.
Don't blame my bowl cut.
Oh, don't blame my bowl cut. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy how CBS releases a sitcom and like before it comes out, they say the #1 new sitcom. What does that mean? #1 new sitcom.
I have no fucking idea.
And then somehow they release it and suddenly it's 3 seasons.
it's like, oh,
wait,
this has
what?
already been around for years?
How did Mike and
What?
Molly last like 8 years?
What the fuck? Did it really?
Big Bang Theory was 12 seasons. 12 seasons of this joke. Nerds.
Bazinga.
She's hot and they're not.
It's funny, right?
Yeah.
It's real funny.
And people were just like, yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. 14 million people
More,
a
please.
week. Yes.
Jesus,
Yep.
dude. That's crazy, man.
Anyway, yeah, so Donald Logue, he is probably one of the best parts of the movie. He's really into his role and his role's funny.
Yeah, he's hateable and likable at the same time. One of the characters in this that I absolutely did not remember is whatever dude's name is that plays Pearl.
Oh, Pearl. Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's, I mean, first off, an awesome gross character
Yeah.
and then also an awesome gross scene.
It really is. It
Yeah.
kind of reminds you of like the gluttony guy in Seven.
Yes. Yeah.
I read that like they had something like fucking 700 pounds of latex skin and stuff on this guy.
Jesus.
And it took like, I don't know, whatever, 16 people to operate this costume.
Ugh.
Because like we watched
I
the
bet
scene.
that was hot as
Oh my
fuck.
God, dude. Yeah, well, they said they had like lines of cold air being pumped
Yeah.
into the costume because it
Yeah.
was just in fuego in there.
Mhm.
Like we watched that scene and it's just so out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck is
Uh-huh.
this shit? I went and like
That's
rewound
real
and watched
deep
it again.
investment into the comics. That's what this movie like.
Willingness to get weird.
Yeah, the willingness. That's why I say this seems like a test. It seems like they were like, okay, we have an idea for a way we want to release our movies, but we need to test and see if we can get
Yeah.
as weird as we want to get. Like,
yeah, totally. How violent?
does
how,
it have to be Spider-Man?
how
Can it
obscure?
be? Yeah, can it be more obscure?
Yeah. Can it be vulgar? Can it be violent? Can
Yeah.
it be disgusting and weird?
And they learned a lot from this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dude. Yeah, that whole Pearl scene is so
yeah.
fucking strange. Is that a
Especially-
character from the book?
Oh, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah?
I believe so.
Okay.
Not positive on that, but
That weird voice and stuff, too.
yeah.
But it looks amazing. Like, I went back and rewatched it to be like, is this CG or is this
Oh,
real?
it's so. And
It's real.
I
It's
mean-
fucking latex.
I guess the burn effect is CG.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah,
but
she
then
starts hitting with that
afterwards
UV
it's
light.
real. Like they do a CG sort of effect, but then they must change the latex or something because that looks real afterwards. The burn effect.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. There was something that I read about how, again, I guess the apparent original script was like way darker and more gruesome and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was stuff about how he's like so obese and nasty because like he loves like eating the hearts of children or some shit.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, like there's like apparently some real fucked up lore about
Mm-hmm.
Pearl that got cut. But yeah, that scene to me was just like really
Yeah.
it snapped me awake. I'll
Yeah.
put it that way, you know?
Yeah. So I would say that this movie, despite not really being a horror movie,
Yeah.
it has those elements that are horror. The makeup effects, the gruesomeness, the blood, and it also is about vampires.
Sounds a lot like a horror movie.
It might be the closest we're gonna get with a Marvel comic movie to a
Totally.
horror movie.
Now, of course, a lot of these comic book movies are very dependent on their special effects and stuff. Thankfully, within the past decade or so, several
Yeah.
years, we've gotten to the point to where the technology can really bring these things to life.
Yeah, and I think
But
that
this was 1998.
Yeah, I think they've learned to not rely on cutting edge technology now, to go with the stuff that is tried and true and still looks good after a few years.
And give the super new stuff a few years to refine itself.
Because this CGI is like, I mean, it's like a Phantom Menace rubbery bullshit.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
It's like, even worse than Phantom Menace. For sure.
Yeah.
The original.
This looks like a fucking 3DO game.
In the original ending that they showed to those test audiences, La Magra.
Yeah,
which
the
is
blood god or whatever.
Yeah, the blood god who then who inhabits Stephen Dorff's character, Deacon Frost. He turns into this large, like, blood hurricane sort of thing.
Okay.
And it looked so bad
like the Tasmanian devil.
They couldn't fix it, that they had to go back and reshoot a fight between Wesley Snipes and Stephen Dorff.
Oh my god. Well, and considering how crap some of the CGI that made its way into the movie
it looks real bad.
That must have been really fucking bad.
Yeah, the practical stuff all looks great still.
It does, yes.
And the CGI looks terrible.
Well, that's the thing, is like the stuff where, like, let's say like the fight scenes and the scenes where obviously, like, you know, Snipes is on a wire and stuff like that they have digitally removed. Which, by the way, in the credits, there's an entire section of like digital wire removal.
Yeah,
like, that used to be
a whole team instead of one guy who just joined the team.
Yeah, just fucking erased it. Yeah, no big deal. Like, that was a whole team of people that had to remove wires. All of that stuff looks good. It looks like Hollywood movie effect stuff that we know and love. But then when the CGI comes in, it's really fucking bad.
It's bad,
It's really bad. That scene towards the
they
end
avoid
of the movie,
They avoid it mostly until the end of the movie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And so we've got like the dozen or so vampires that are standing around. They get zapped by that lightning. And, okay, the idea here is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That they have these like weird skeleton demon things that like pry their way out of their mouths.
Yeah. It is a cool idea.
It's a cool idea, but man, when you see it, it looks really, really shitty. Like the whole idea that I guess these people have a human skeleton, but also a bat skeleton.
Yeah, they have
creature?
a double skeleton.
A double skeleton.
because a skull is coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Skull.
Yeah.
So they've got a double skeleton. Yeah, I that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That seems real silly to me.
It also looks bad. So that it's got that going for it.
That's the kind of thing that they really just should have been like, you know what? Just make their souls come out as smoke.
Yeah. That would have been fine.
That'd be fine.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
one of those
easier.
things.
It's easier to animate, I would imagine.
Exactly. I wonder if there was something maybe in one of the comics where, you know, like a bat vampire,
I'm sure,
skeleton demon emerged from the skin of a human, and they're like, do it that way. There's some things that just look better on a comic book page than
of course, but
on
because
the screen, you know?
Drawing is something we've been doing for thousands of years. Computer animation is a little newer.
Pretty new.
Yeah.
And even just like some of the like little like blood trickle effects and stuff like that.
I don't
really
know why
bad.
they couldn't have done that practical.
I know, right?
That seems like it would have been way easier to do practically.
It seems like it would, because there's so many shots where like you can see the blood is like vibrating. It's like where the camera is moving, but there's supposed to be blood trickling down one of the little wells after Blade gets like drained and stuff. Again, it looks like a 3DO game or a Sega CD or something like that. It looks really shitty.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Nah, I'd say the CGI is really one of the biggest drawbacks.
Yeah, the CGI and the just epic levels of exposition that come in are probably the worst.
Whole lot of exposition. What about all this like fucking prophecy stuff? I was never clear on this whole.
You're
the chosen one.
It's the Book of Erebus, the Vampire Bible, the prophecy.
The translations of the pages. The fucking you got to sacrifice 12 vampires. And they got to be covered in the blood.
It's all a little like it's a little too much for the movie, but it's also like this is what I would say Marvel learned from the Blade movie.
Yeah.
Start as simple as possible. Start with the simplest level of the character. So you don't have Iron Man versus Hydra. You have Iron Man get taken by these terrorists, and he's got to figure out what to do, and he makes this iron suit. And because he's made this iron suit, this has inspired others to potentially make the suit. Now he has to fight the person who is his main enemy, who is also his business partner, Obadiah Stane.
There's always time to grow later.
Yes.
But at the same time, maybe they thought that this was their one chance to tell their whole story.
That's true. That's what I'm guessing they thought with this movie, and what I'm guessing Marvel learned with this movie is that's not going to be the case.
People will stick around for the whole story.
People will stick around for the whole story.
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about
Take it slow.
Fucking House of a Thousand Corpses, where it's like, it's almost as if Rob Zombie is like, I have one chance to tell my entire
and at that time
ethos.
it seemed like he did.
It seemed likely.
Yeah, but now it's like, well, if he had it back, he probably wouldn't have tried to tell such a big story.
Yeah, because this movie does try to tell a pretty grandiose story.
And it could be.
You said earlier, it felt like one of those classic 12-issue miniseries.
Yes.
That they were like, yeah, you can do that in an hour 50.
And you can't.
Plus an origin story.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, okay, not only is it an entire 12-issue miniseries, but it's also the origin story of the character too. And it's like, that's way too much shit to try to cram into this
movie.
Be
a much better story to introduce a vampire hunter, introduce the concept that he's hunting vampires, give him one particular vampire to be after, and discover near the end there's this much larger world of vampires.
That'd be fine.
That opens up sequels possibilities.
Yeah. And like I said, Morbius and all this other stuff.
So you don't have to start with the Book of Erebus and all that shit.
Right.
You just start with something more ground
level. Yeah, for sure.
So they definitely learned from this while also making a ton of money doing it. So I imagine Marvel looks back on Blade happily.
That's the thing. Yeah, we can complain about all this stuff, but people watch the fuck out of it.
Yeah, because they were starving for this type of thing.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, we had yet to see X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, which all came in the early 2000s. Well, X-Men in 2000. So this is the one comic book movie that came along for Marvel and actually did it. Superman had come along already, and those movies had already kind of fallen out of favor by the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Where people were just like, okay, that's boring.
Sure.
Then we get Batman, and we see it can go dark, but that's all we're getting. They won't give us anything else. It's just Batman for years, and Marvel can come along and introduce all these other characters that can be very interesting.
I will say, even though, we're obviously very critical of the CG here, there are some pretty cool and gruesome deaths in this. That scene whenever they take fucking Udo Kier.
Udo Kier's in this.
What the fuck? He's in this. They take him out to the beach and make him watch the sunrise. And he,
they've got some weird, vampire sunblock they wear.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the issue.
Yeah.
So I understand they're out there. They're all in leathers. They're all in motorcycle helmets. That I get.
Yeah.
They're blocked from the sun.
But at first,
that does make sense.
They're just wearing sunblock.
Yeah. So, okay. So what you're telling me is that the UV inhibitors and the sunblock are what are keeping them alive. But I mean, you'd have to get every square inch.
Yeah. Not even a tiny little bit could be not
I'm talking
covered.
your hair part. I'm talking your eyelids. Also, does that mean your eyeballs don't need to be protected? It would have
made more sense to do that scene as a creep show type scene. Have him wake up on the beach tied up or something and them on a monitor talking to him.
Or just in their leathers and motorcycle gear, like a welding helmet
completely
or whatever.
Covered as they were with that. Yeah.
That would have been fine. I mean, obviously I realize it's hard to characterize who's who.
Yeah, and hard to care at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's just everybody's dressed in all black and you can't see who's who.
That's why you put name tags on them.
Oh,
hello,
hi,
my name
is Deacon.
Is Deacon Frost. Yeah. That way they'd know. It's like, if you're unclear about who is killing you, it is I. Hello, my name is Deacon Frost. And so on. But yeah, there's just little things like that you can really poke holes in the lore with when you think about that kind of thing. But yeah, that death scene is really cool. There's some other cool, gruesome scenes in here. I love whenever that Blade has that trick sword.
Yeah, it's got a hilt
safety on it.
Yeah, with the safety. Yeah, you have to press a button, otherwise after a few seconds
and it blows dude's hand off.
Yeah.
The whole huge swelling head when they're exposed to the EDTA.
That looks
complex.
great.
It's pretty sick, man.
It could look better for sure.
But the way they
it
film
looks
it is
cool.
smart.
I like the way they did it.
Honestly, it really reminds me a lot of the way that things look in Planet Terror.
Oh, yeah.
Like whenever they start like swelling and
Yeah.
blowing up and inflating after they haven't had their like serum or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It looks a lot like that, actually.
That's it really does. You're right.
Yeah, and it's cool. And the camera's kind of doing this like shaky thing, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
So cool.
It looks cool.
It's a cool idea. I wish it had come along a little earlier in the movie instead of that late in the movie.
It's in the third act. Yeah. He's fighting those two, and he injects them with the stuff, and their heads like swell up.
So fun.
And there's just like a bucket of blood that gets thrown from off camera.
Yeah.
Very cool. And like I said, I even like whenever Frost gets kind of exploded towards the end. I think that effect is actually...
It's a pretty cool effect, yeah.
Pretty bitchin'. Works pretty well for me.
Blade rips out a guy's throat and then throws the throat at his next victim.
Eat throat,
It's
he should have said.
so quick that I had never noticed it before, but watching it last night, I saw it and I was like, what? That's like Roadhouse. That was fucking awesome.
That's awesome, man. I totally missed that somewhere in there. I don't remember him tearing a throat out and throwing it at somebody.
Out, then reaches back, throws it at the next guy, and punches him.
Fuck you. Eat throat, ass wipe. That's so awesome, man. Dude, I loved how Blade's mom, I guess, wanted to fuck him.
Wanted to fuck him, I guess, yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, if they had established some Lestatian hedonism to the vampires before that, I would get it. Because it would be like, what does it matter?
But mother-son incest, this is not ever.
Yeah, it's a taboo.
Cool.
It's a taboo, but like, they didn't even set up the idea that they break taboos. So it's like so far out there once it comes along. It's like, wait, what? Dude, why is she trying to fuck her kid?
I just think the actress playing her just really liked Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, like they were like, can you please stop trying to fuck him? And she was like, no, I cannot.
Not happening.
Sorry.
Yeah, this shoot's going to be over in a few hours.
This dude don't pay taxes, so.
I got to get a piece of that. Yeah, that to me was really...
That was so weird.
Really strange out of nowhere, man.
It doesn't fit. I wish they had done something more of along the lines of like, I don't know, maybe she weasels some information out of him by acting motherly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one scene like right before he kills her where he like goes in for like a hug where it's like, you know, it's like, oh, I just want to be close to my mom or whatever.
Yeah.
That's very different than this like sexy mom thing that happens earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
That was very strange.
Yeah, it was very strange. I agree with that.
What do you think about the very end of this movie where we get this like scene in Moscow and shit and like Blade's there kicking
he's vampire hunting around the world.
I guess apparently that was supposed to be Morbius at the end of the movie.
Was it?
The original idea.
Oh yeah, director Stephen Norrington was going to portray Morbius. I do remember reading that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have been a great setup.
That would have been an awesome setup. Knowing what, because I did start to watch the sequel, and the sequel is so much better.
Okay,
it's such a good fucking movie, and I got caught up in it before I left to come to record this because I just got so into it because it's a much more like fast paced, and the world's already established, so you don't have to keep doing these exposition moments. And also, what's his name? The guy from The Walking Dead and Death Stranding. Fuck. That guy. He's in it. He does a good job, and it's directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Whoa. Yeah. Guillermo the Bull?
Guillermo of the Bull.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Dude, so it's been so long since I watched Blade that this was effectively the first time that I'd seen it.
Yeah.
I think I watched it once, probably around the year 2000.
Well, if you're looking for a treat, all the Blade movies are on Hulu.
Oh,
so
sick.
Might as well go ahead and watch part 2. No need to watch 3.
Okay.
It's not good.
But enough about The Godfather.
Yes. Please watch 2. Don't watch 3. Actually, that is true of The Godfather.
Yeah.
Part 2 is probably the best part, and no need to watch 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I remember, though, even though I don't remember anything about this movie, I remember that Blade 2 was really badass.
It is.
I remember really enjoying that. But weirdly enough, in my head, I thought that the whole like blood rave thing that starts Blade 1
happened in Blade 2.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is this like a Mandela
Because
effect thing or what?
that blood rave is badass.
It's badass.
It is.
And dude, like the way that the movie starts with fucking Tracy Lords.
Tracy Lords, former accidental child porn star.
Whoopsie daisy.
Not accidental on her
star.
side, but accidental on the other side. She used a fake ID to become a porn star.
Yeah.
She did it on purpose.
Yeah. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Bless her.
Yeah. She wanted to make money. I get it. Whatever.
Her leading this guy into this club. He's having a good time. He's partying. He wants to get a drink. Things are getting weird. And then this crazy blood rain starts coming down.
Yeah.
And the music and soundtrack is like super intense, and everybody's getting covered in this blood, and you see fangs and
then
shit.
you start hearing some hissing, some of that famous vampire hissing. But there's also some growling in there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. It's really fucking cool. Like that scene gets super claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Which has always been my thing about I'm not going to say that's the only thing that keeps me from going to clubs, but
yeah, well, that is one of them.
That's one of them.
It's
yeah,
not fun.
I don't want to be jammed in the middle of a room full of people.
Yeah.
And unable to escape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
But the way that opening scene is shot, where there's this fucking crazy raining blood, rave, orgy, whatever, and I love the contrast that they chose to go with here, because everybody that's in the club is like soaking wet with blood and they're shiny, and then Blade walks in and he's wearing all this like satin leather and he's bone dry.
Bone dry.
There's something cool about that contrast that really just popped for me on screen that I thought was neat. But I could have sworn that scene was in Blade 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with that is. Who's the villain in Blade 2? Do you remember?
I haven't gotten that far. Yeah, and I don't remember. Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to watch it.
Oh wait! Yes. There's a vampire.
Yeah.
Who sucks other vampires.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So the vampire disease has evolved, and now there's a vampire that sucks other vampires, which gives them the virus that he has and makes them suck other vampires. Yeah.
That was one thing to me that was kind of weird about this, is that ultimately Frost's plan was to kind of like turn the world into vampires.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they starve to death?
Yeah, okay, so they kind of set up the idea in part 2 and go into it more in part 3 that they were going to use like these humans as like blood bags.
Yeah, but they die eventually, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how it's a sustainable model.
Wouldn't they just go extinct?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would guess.
Yeah.
Unless they can drink animal blood as well.
In that case, why don't they just do that?
That's a good point. Because then it wouldn't even be a big deal. Yeah. It would just be like, oh, could you suck all the blood out of that cow and then we'll eat the meat?
Okay.
Thanks.
Cool.
Vampires and humans living in harmony.
Yeah, we can live in unison together. Yeah, that to me is always kind of weird. It's like, ultimately, a vampire can't turn the whole world.
No.
Or else they'd starve to death.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that is always going to be the Achilles heel of vampires getting together to rule the world.
They need humans.
You kind of need humans.
It would be like, imagine that the entire human race got together and we were like, fuck all the cows. Let's kill them all.
Take that.
Take that, plants.
All right. Now let's have a celebratory hamburger. Wait a second.
Shit.
Yeah.
So there's problems with that.
There are some problems. Yeah, there's some definite flaws with the plan.
So what would you say are your like high points, low points?
Okay, so high point of this is that it feels so much like the Blade level of comic books.
Okay.
It is fun and bloody and gory, and
it's its own world that doesn't depend on other Marvel shit. I like that about it.
I looked it up last night. It's like Earth 24260 or something. Like the Blade universe is its own particular alternate universe. Yeah. That includes, I think, the television show. There was a television show for a little bit. Anyway, the definite highest point for me is that Wesley Snipes basically is Blade.
Yeah, Snipes and the action are the best part.
Yeah, he's so good at it. And
agree.
He plays it like he played it in a way that they ended up changing the comic book character to be like him.
Yeah, because this is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty definitive. That's pretty
I
like
think so.
number one up there. Number two, I think the practical effects are great.
The
I
practical effects are very good.
As far as directing goes, it shows a very competent level of action directing that I can't believe didn't get Stephen Norrington more action
yeah,
directing
right.
work. Yeah.
It is dated looking. Everything has that bleached out
Yeah. Mhm.
late 90s look
Yeah.
about it. So it is a dated looking movie.
It is, but I mean, that's
It needed to
probably
appeal
what
to
they
the
were
masses,
aiming for
yeah.
in
That's
'98.
probably why it worked.
Yeah.
Can I give another high point?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think a lot of that electronic music on the soundtrack is bitchin'.
It is actually pretty good and works well with the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like mid-late 90s electronic thing.
Yeah.
And again, I say this as a fucking, dude that was born in the mid-80s and grew up in the mid-90s. Like, that kind of era of electronic music.
That was great, yeah.
I really fucking love. Like,
Yeah.
I love Chemical Brothers and Prodigy and Orbital
Yeah.
and London Underground and all
But
that.
the-
Future Sound of London, I'm sorry.
the
All
thing
that shit is awesome.
I would say is by '98, the music on this soundtrack is dated. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's our like.
It sounds like the
techno
Wipeout
was already
XL.
passed, and everybody had moved
Yeah.
into house and trance and
And there's
drum
some like
bass
drum and
stuff.
there's some drum
There
and
is
bass
some drum
in
and
this.
bass elements,
Like
yeah.
during the ending credits, there's some song
Yeah.
that I was like, is this like Square Pusher or something?
Yeah.
Because it's actually really complicated drum and bass. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of weird odd meter shit in it. And
That's the good stuff.
yeah, it's fucking
That's the
awesome,
stuff I still
man.
go back and listen to.
Shit,
Though the
yeah.
Chemical Brothers and like Prodigy and
This
stuff is
fun,
still
man.
good. Still
And,
fun.
yeah, we got the nostalgia at this point.
Yeah,
too,
we do,
Let's
that's
be
true.
honest, So yeah, soundtrack is a big plus.
They
for me.
wanted Prodigy to do the entire soundtrack.
no
Yeah,
shit.
that was the original
Fuck.
plan, was to have Prodigy do the entire soundtrack.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. It would have been very cool. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Negatives, CGI, we already
CGI.
said,
Bad.
and just the excessive amount of storytelling.
Yeah.
But
Should have gone smaller.
Yeah, should have gone smaller. But I get what they were going for, and they didn't have anything to connect it to, and they weren't at that point where they realized, like, oh, it doesn't have to be connected to anything yet. This could be the anchor, like Iron Man.
Exactly.
So, for what they had done and what they were dealing with, and for Marvel's first success, I think it's pretty good movie that still handles itself as an action movie today.
Yeah.
The CGI doesn't fit, and a lot of the quips aren't going to be as well written as you kind of come to expect from more modern action movies. But it's still fun. And
Yeah.
it's still a good action movie.
Agree. So you got any final rating
Yeah.
or anything about this?
Yeah, this movie is I don't know, it's probably about I'm trying to not compare it to other comic book movies, but
Yeah, same.
I don't want to compare it to other horror movies because it's not really a horror movie.
I know.
So,
Yeah, it's kind of a no man's land, really.
yeah. As far as action movies go, this is probably about a 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a 6.5.
I'm with you. I think I would probably go slightly a little lower.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go like a 6
Okay.
on this. It's
think
above
that's fair.
average.
Yeah.
I'm not like racing to watch it again.
I mean, if this were 2000, I would be like, oh, one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
But it's 21 years later, and a lot of comic book movies have come out since
Yeah,
then.
you know what? I agree with that. Yeah. I think that if we were reviewing this before we saw all these other amazing comic book flicks that we talked about in the intro and stuff here, it would be very much more highly ranked. But considering that we've seen just how great comic movies can be, there's a new bar now.
The bar got way raised.
But I mean, when you compare this to other stuff that was around at the time,
It's good.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
It pretty well crushes a lot of the other stuff that was
I think
around.
it's better than the first X-Men, probably better than the first Spider-Man.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I'm not going to say it's better than fucking Batman or Batman Returns.
No, it does. Yeah, it doesn't beat the Tim Burton Batmans. It's not better than Spider-Man 2 or X2 for me.
Yeah.
But it's still a good horror or a good comic book movie.
I agree. And I feel like it just really saw the writing on the wall that, like I said, you can have a B-list character that is a minority, that is R-rated, so it's instantly going to get seen by less people.
Yeah.
And it will be a hit. I mean, there's honestly a lot of times in this flick that it reminded me very much of the Daredevil Netflix series.
Yes, the fights.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
where it is this gritty, dirty, urban.
And they would try to do Daredevil after this and not reach the level of grit and dirt that this does, and that's where they missed out. That's where the television series where it really was able to pick up.
Yeah, because I mean, just the entire notion that this isn't Avengers level stakes. Like this isn't. Well, I guess.
I guess it is, but like
whatever,
it's so secretive that everybody in the world wouldn't know about it. Whereas the Avengers deal with threats everybody is pretty much clear on.
Yeah, exactly.
There are aliens attacking New York. The Avengers come in.
Yeah. The fact that this is kind of these lower level from the public eye stakes, and it's gritty and it's urban, and there's lots of great hand-to-hand combat and martial arts scenes and stuff, and it really reminds me a lot of that first season of Daredevil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 6 just because it's just kind of long.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
It's too long, and it feels as long as it is.
It does.
Yeah.
It really, really does. But still a fun watch that even in the face of, like we said, Guardians and Avengers and Winter Soldier and all this stuff, still pretty fucking good.
Still fun.
It really says something that we have seen these movies and we're still like, that's a pretty good comic book flick.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 6 is a pretty fucking good grade for
One
this
day
thing.
I'm going to go back and watch in order of release all the Marvel movies. So starting with, of course, Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. There you go, man.
And watching that Fantastic Four movie produced by Roger Corman that they did just to keep the rights to Fantastic Four.
Woof. That's going to be a rough time in your life.
That would suck, yeah.
That'll be great fodder for the show, though, so I look forward to hearing about it.
I should get on it then.
Well, we're going to announce what movie we're talking about next week. Some of you guys that have listened to the last couple shows already know what it is.
Yeah, you already know what we're doing.
But before we announce it, you guys can give us your money on Patreon.
Yeah,
Patreon.com. If you like the show.
/deadendlovely. Go over there, become a $5 patron. Get yourself a poll.
Get yourself a poll. Why don't
Dead
you?
and Lovely.
Yeah, that's right.
You can give us some a submission each month. We're going to be doing another drawing next week to see what we're going to be doing in December. Just go ahead, head on over there to patreon.com, become a $5 patron, and drop your submission in the December post that I'll be putting up in a couple days. And you could decide what we cover next month.
It could be you. Thank you guys so much for the support. You guys have been amazing.
Absolutely.
You guys are helping us buy merchandise.
Yep.
All kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have
some shirts available, right?
We do still have some shirts available. We'll have some more inexpensive or less expensive stuff coming out soonish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do some beer koozies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep yourself a pull nice and cool.
But yeah, t-shirts, you just email me with your size and your address, and I will email you back a total, and you pay us on PayPal, and I send it out the very next business day.
Where do they email you?
deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
That's pretty easy to remember. deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
Yep, deadandlovelypod@gmail.com. Go ahead and email me. I'll send you out a shirt.
There you go.
You'll be wearing a shirt in no time.
Solve your upper nudity issues today.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out that people are sending me these orders, but not sending me any proof of their upper nudity problem.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. I've seen some proof that people are solving their issues here. Jeremy Loki posted a picture of his
today.
upper nudity solution being solved.
But I never saw them titties.
I didn't see no titties. But that's the thing. That's the point. That's why you wear this shirt.
That's a good point.
That you have something to save for later.
Please don't send me titty pictures. Actually, yeah, well, if you want
Maybe.
to. I'm not going to be mad at it.
Maybe.
But my wife is going to see it as well. That's just going to happen.
Who doesn't like titties?
I don't know.
Everybody.
Seriously. There are people who don't like it that women breastfeed.
Listen, ain't a person alive that hasn't benefited from a titty.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Let them babies eat.
Yeah. Or just look at them.
Well, no. I mean, don't stare at a woman's boob while she's feeding her baby.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that female form is a beautiful thing.
And we should appreciate it.
Everybody loves it.
That's a good point.
Everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it.
So buy a shirt.
So buy a t-shirt. Man, that's a damn good advertisement.
That's a good segue, right?
We should start Mad Men 2.
Yeah, Mad Men 2. Dead Alive-a-loo.
Dead Alive-a-loo.
Dead and Lovey-loo. I said dead alive. What the fuck? Well, anyway, you guys be sure to tune in next week to the show. We're going to be talking about
Twilight.
fucking Twilight.
I guess our second wild card in a row, technically, since this wasn't
kinda,
a horror
not
movie, and it's not
necessarily
really a horror movie, but
No.
it's a vampire
It's a vampire movie. It's no vampire. This is going to be a shit show. I have been going through the
I'm
audiobook
excited.
this week.
I'm
and
excited. It's going to be so fun to
That
rip
book's
this apart.
terrible. There's no way I'm going to have enough time to like finish the book in time. I don't think.
You're not missing anything.
I want to say I have maybe like 8 hours or so to go.
Ugh.
I know, right? So I'm like thinking, it's like, do I have time to listen to an hour of this every day before we do the next episode? I doubt it.
Yeah, you're
But
not.
I'd like to try.
You know what? It doesn't get better.
Oh, it's fucking
What
terrible.
if it did? What if as she was writing, she was like, wait a second, I could
figuring
improve
this out.
but I'm not going to go back and edit the rest.
Oh my god, dude. It's so fucking terrible. The book has been so
It's bad.
so bad.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about Twilight next week. It's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You guys be sure to tune in for that. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes, rate and review, give it that 5-star review. It helps us out a ton, helps it show up in them search engines and all that other kind of stuff. So please do give us some review skis. In the meantime, we'll be catching up with you guys next week. You guys have been fantastic. We've been dead and lovely.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I've ever told you about accidental Primus. There's this theory that I have with your band and stuff, right? Where if you're a musical ensemble and you intentionally sound like Primus, that's fine.
Okay.
But you don't want to end up in accidental Primus territory.
Okay.
Like if you're a band that isn't really trying to sound like Primus, but you do like by accident, that's dangerous turf.
Okay.
Like if you mean to do that,
Yeah.
good on you.
You're saying that you're a Primus type band.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you do that on accident, it's like you messed up somewhere.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if you had a friend that was like, I really want you to come see my band. We're like a rock and roll band and we're
Right.
really
Right.
good. I play bass and I sing in it. And you go see him. Yeah, and it's pass that pinder, Billy Bob, and I'll write you up a song. If they don't mean to do that, you're like, oh, you guys
Oops.
might be terrible.
Oops.
But if it's on purpose,
Oops,
good.
all Primus.
stay away from that accidental Primus, y'all.